Good evening. We're going to start the April the 16th meeting. Invocation will be by Commissioner Oliver, Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wilson, and then we'll have roll call. Everybody please stand.
Let us bow. Most heavenly and gracious Father, we come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we come to you right now, lifting your name upon high, praising, exalting your holy name. Thank you for your creation, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your creation yet one more day. Lord, right now, as we continue to go about our day and we conduct these meetings, Lord, we pray that you will allow us to touch and agree. We also pray, Lord, that you will just continue to bring us closer together. We ask that you will continue to bless those and watch over those that have been sworn to protect us, our first responders, Lord. We also ask for that you will protect our military men and women all over the globe that has sworn to protect us. We ask that you would just bless them with a double portion of your Holy Spirit, Lord. Keep them from hurt, harm, and danger. And Lord, right now, as we continue this meeting, we ask that you would just continue to bless us and move us in the direction that you would have us to go. These and all things we do pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right, we have the presentations and proclamations. Proclamation for April 2019, we have the Child Abuse Prevention Month. You have that one?
No, I have,
You have that one?
I have.
Commissioner Firstner will read that. Is anybody here to go on down and wait on him to get through, Steve, and then we'll have you come up and get that, okay?
Okay, proclamation, whereas Florida's bright future depends on the healthy development of its children, and whereas the abuse and neglect of children can cause severe and costly consequences for children, families, and society as a whole. And whereas every child has the right to be safe, healthy, and happy childhood where they are educationally and developmentally on track, and whereas it is vital that individuals, businesses, schools, and community organizations make children a top priority and to take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and competency of all children. And whereas during the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with the Governor's Office of Adoption and Child Protection, the Florida Department of Children and Families, and the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida implement Pinwheels for Prevention. And whereas Pinwheels for Prevention is a statewide coordinated program aimed to increase awareness of child abuse prevention efforts by encouraging healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and community support. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month is an important opportunity to urge all citizens to engage in activities that strengthen families and communities and that provide the optimal environment for a healthy child development. Now therefore, the Ocoee City Commission does hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Ocoee and offers its support to all citizens. In witness whereof I hereunto have set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed to this 16th day of April 2019. Rusty Johnson, Mayor.
Thank you. Want to go down and give it to
Yeah.
Steve? Got somebody can take a picture of the which I need everybody, all the commissioners come down front. This one got to sit to the governor. Sorry about that. Wasn't for Sherry, I'd lose a lot of things probably, so thank you, Sherry. I forgot about that. All right, next one is the Denim Day for April 24th. Is anybody here for that? All right, when I get through reading it, we'll come up and get a picture. All right, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the, what?
I think
I got the Arbor Day, you got that one. Sorry.
Whereas the month of April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, calling attention to the fact that sexual assault and harassment is widespread and harms our community. And whereas every 2 minutes, someone in America is sexually assaulted, and approximately 1 in 5 women and 1 in 33 men are raped during their lifetime, and about 75% of harassment victims experience retaliation when they report it. And whereas the Denim Day movement is a worldwide effort that started as a grassroots protest against a controversial Italian Supreme Court decision in which a sexual assault conviction was overturned because the victim was wearing tight jeans at the time of the attack. And whereas Denim Day encourages everyone to stand in solidarity with survivors of sexual violence and speak up when they hear comments that blame victims or make light of sexual harassment and assault. And whereas together, when we change how we think and talk about the issue, we can create a culture of respect, equality, and safety for our citizens. And whereas with proper education on the matter of comprehensive prevention projects, sexual violence and its unfair and traumatizing effect are preventable. And whereas the City of Ocoee strongly supports the Victims Services Center of Central Florida and their efforts to heal victims, educate and train the community, and stop sexual violence before it starts. Now, therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim Wednesday, April 24th, 2019 as Denim Day. And the City of Ocoee urges all citizens to wear jeans on Denim Day to help spread awareness about the physical and emotional trauma that accompanies sexual assault and shows our support to survivors in our community. In witness thereof, I unto have set the hand and caused the seal of the City of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed on April 16th of 2019 by our Mayor, Rusty Johnson.
Go ahead and go down and get that. Get a picture of it. Thank you. All right, now I'll get to the one I got. All right, this is for Arbor Day. Anybody here for Arbor Day? Yep, I get to keep it then. Huh? Parks, okay, guy in the back. All right. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed in the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim April the 26th, 2019 to be Arbor Day in the City of Ocoee and urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our city's urban forestry program. All right. Our recreation department is this. Okay. All right. Presentation. 2019 Firefighter of the Year Award to firefighter paramedic Bronson Fernandez. Fire Chief Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson, Commissioners, City Manager Frank. I just want to thank you. Well, I don't get the opportunity very often, but I want to thank you all for your support of public safety, both police and fire. I think it's important for our community to know, the dedication and commitment, the financial resources that you apply towards public safety, putting it number one in our community. And it shows. I want to thank every one of you who came to our open house about 10 days ago, and we had over 500 children and young adults and families come, and you saw they got to witness some of what you've been providing for us over the last number of years. So thank you for your support. Tonight I come to you to recognize our 2019 Firefighter of the Year, and as you mentioned, it's Bronson Trey Fernandez. Bronson, if you would come up front. We have a Trey on the department as well, but that Trey wanted to stand out. Bronson is a young man whom the Ocoee community should be very proud. He grew up locally, went to school, and graduated from the Ocoee High School in 2011. While in school, Bronson joined the Ocoee Fire Department's Explorer program in 2007 and became the first Ocoee Fire Explorer to ever be hired by the department on January 12, 2015. He immediately went right back to school and became certified as a paramedic on November 19th in the same year, and has not looked back since. Bronson has continued his education and will partake in the fire department's engineer promotional process coming up in June. Bronson was nominated for Firefighter of the Year by his peers, along with several other very worthy nominees. In his nomination, his supervisor noted that in many ways in which Bronson has gone above and beyond in stepping up to serve on behalf of the Ocoee Fire Department. He is one of the founding members of the Fire Department's Honor Guard and has participated as an Honor Guard member in nearly all of the Fire Department and city functions in which the Honor Guard was requested. Bronson has also taken on a lead as a CPR trainer for the Fire Department, the city, and our community partners. He is the Fire Department's representative to the Automatic External Defibrillator Committee through the Orange County Medical Director's Office. and he's also a paramedic preceptor for the department, assisting newer paramedics in attaining medical clearance to practice as paramedics within the department. He also is involved in the orientation, training, and evaluating new firefighters who begin their careers with the Ocoee Fire Department. Firefighter Fernandez can always be relied upon and continuously has a positive attitude. He sets a great example for the younger members of the department, and as you may or may not know, nearly 60% of our fire department is less than 5 years on the job. So Bronson, with 5 years on the job, is quite a bit of seniority. In addition to his great personality and demeanor, Bronson has also had several cardiac arrest saves over the last year and was recognized by one of the recipients of the for this life-saving achievement award in January by one of the patients that he saved. Bronson comes from a very close-knit family, most, if not all, of which live here in Ocoee, and they support him in all his endeavors and goals. He and his wife Taylor have also settled in Ocoee, making him a great example of a hometown hero. Please join me in congratulating firefighter paramedic Bronson Fernandez as the 2019 recipient of the Firefighter of the Year Award. Tonight, along with him receiving the framed Firefighter of the Year certificate, Bronson will also receive his Firefighter of the Year ribbon to go on his dress uniform. This ribbon will accompany his other ribbons, which include the American flag, a ribbon for being a member of the OFD Honor Guard, and one for his Life-Saving Achievement Award, and now this ribbon tonight for the Firefighter of the Year. I'd like to, if we could get a picture and then have his family come up, sir. I'll have everybody know I've been in the service 35 years and never have gotten this award, so I need you and out a bunch of them, never got it.
Bring your family up, get a picture. Bring your family. I will say that, talking about his family is in my neighborhood. I get to watch them walk all the time, makes me kind of feel bad. They're always walking and I'm looking at them, so I feel like I'm getting exercise by osmosis, so that's good. Thanks again, we appreciate it. He's a great young man. We're glad to have him here on our fire department. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Presentation. Lake Apopka Natural Gas presentation by Monica J. Marlowe, Director of Marketing and Business Development. Just a little comment about it. I had met with Monica back a few weeks ago, and I've been thinking about it for years, and some of the neighbors asked about it, and some of the downtown place asked about it for putting natural gas in, so I wanted them to come give a little presentation and tell us about it, because on the north side of town in Ocoee, we have natural gas. We've had it for years. When I was a little boy, we had it up there. And on the south, we got it at the fire department right down the street here from on Bluford. So we want to look at adding it where we can add it downtown and all the way up maybe to Silver Star Road now. So go ahead and give your presentation.
All right, good evening, and thank you, Mayor Rusty and Assistant City Manager Craig for inviting us to come in tonight and talk about getting natural gas into the downtown area of Ocoee. I don't know how many of you know, but Lake Apopka Natural Gas District has been serving the community of Winter Garden, Apopka, Claremont, and surrounding we will be celebrating 60 years come June 21st of this year. And we are very grateful for the over 22,732 customers we now have. Each of them enjoy natural gas, and natural gas, if you don't know, is a very safe energy. It's very fuel efficient to operate in your homes for your hot water, your cooking, drying your clothes, for the amenities you like to do here in Florida, cook outside on your grill without having to bring a tank in for that grill. It's a very convenient fuel, but also it's a very domestic fuel. Most of the gas that we use is derived right here in the United States and Canada. Natural gas provides direct use of natural gas provides about a 92% direct use to the appliance at your home. So it's very fuel efficient and it's very affordable. How many of you, I'm sure many of you in this room experienced Hurricane Irma and experienced the outage that was rampant when we lost power in the area. And not to be joking about it, but had you had natural gas, you'd at least been able to cook and get a bath.
Hot bath.
Because your hot water would have been working. Natural gas does not depend on electricity in order to fuel those appliances and stuff. So we want to do all that we can to bring natural gas into the community. Commissioners, if you will look at, there's a map on your chair, on your seats, near your seats, that has a diagram of where we would like to bring natural gas down Blueford. Currently, there's a little yellow mark at the end of the page towards our name. That's where the line currently is, right there at the fire station and Orlando Avenue. That's where it ends. There's one house across from the fire station that actually has gas. But to bring that line further, that purple line that you see is the extension that we would need to make from there all the way to Silver Star. And to do that, we would literally bore underneath the right-of-way to get the line down there. And I wish we had gotten this done before all the beautiful new landscape had been done, but we didn't. But we will be very careful and assure you we will not destroy anything and everything will be the same when we're done. I promise you that. We pride ourselves on that we leave the community the same way it was when we came in. All right? The cost to the city of Ocoee is approximately from just the fire station to McKee, where the new city hall is to be built, is approximately $40,000 to get that line there. It's about 2,700 linear feet of line we'd have to bring, and we do it in a 2-inch yellow poly. If you ever seen our lines sticking up or us working, it's a yellow poly that we use for most communities. To go further down to Silver Star, that cost is an additional 1,600 feet. It's about another $28,000. So we're looking at a total of a little over almost $70,000 for the whole project to get the line down there. And then we can do, you know, as people become interested on the side streets off of Blueford, then we will do an assessment and evaluate coming into those areas and bringing it to your homes.
That it?
Any questions regarding how we do our work, or we do use contractors to do our work, but we have a very good contractor. We've never had an incident with them. They're very reliable, and they do an excellent job of making sure of what we did there, you will not know we were there. We pride ourselves on leaving things as we found them.
All right, any commissioners? Anybody in the commissioners? Comments?
How far do you go underground with your lines? How far do they go in?
About 18 to 24 feet.
feet or inches?
Inches down. I'm sorry,
I
not
think
feet.
so. You can dig
18 to
deep.
24
Trying to hit
inches
water,
down. Now, I come from up north and we have to go 3 feet down up north, so, but here it's a little different, and stuff, but we're generally 18 to 24 inches down.
Anybody else?
How long does it take to, you putting in the line from his existing point all the way to Silver Star? How long would that take?
It should not take us more than about 10 working days.
About 10 working days?
Yeah, they can do about 500 feet a day.
Did that cost include restoration of trees,
Yes,
plants?
any trees,
sod,
plants,
and
sod.
Beautification?
Yes, any beautification that gets unearthed. But like I said, it's a bore, so it kind of goes underneath the ground. And any disturbance you generally won't see, but like I said, we do make sure that everything is back in place like it was when we came.
What's the annual cost of usage of that to the city, then the annual cost of that, and also maintenance of those?
Maintenance is supplied, but we have to maintain all of our lines by federal law. All our lines have to be maintained by us. We are governed by the state PSC office. They come in yearly to evaluate our maintenance records, and this last year we had no incidents at all.
Who maintains that cost, the city or your company?
No, the city, I mean, the Lake Apopka Gas District, that's a part of our budget, is our maintenance of our facility.
No.
Commissioner First.
Will you be able to offer the gas service to all the different property owners on this map?
On going down Blueford, yeah, anybody on Blueford can get a service line once that main, the line going down Blueford is called the backbone. It's the main that goes down, and then services would go to each individual business or homeowner.
But say you lived 2 streets over from Blueford, the homeowner would have to pay for the service to be installed to his residence?
Yeah, that would mean a main extension from Blueford onto that street. But typically, how we do that is we try to send information to the homeowners on that street, see if there are more homeowners who are interested, because the more that are interested, the less the cost is to everyone.
Cost is shared, yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
As we're trying to promote business in that area, gas is what restaurants want to use.
Yes.
And, because I know some have tanks to have, but the situation, it would behoove us for the
Yes.
purpose of business.
Right.
To be putting gas down there, because restaurants want that, and that's what we're trying to promote along that area.
With gas, you do not have to worry about calling anybody to refill. As long as you pay your bill, your gas is on and operates.
All right, Commissioner, you got any more, Commissioner?
No,
Wilson?
that's all.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Brinson?
I have nothing.
Okay. Well, I've been trying for years. Like I said, I grew up with the gas up on the north side. That don't sound right, but it's a lot. To me, I was used to cooking gas, and I like hot water heater on gas too. So, but one of the things, and Commissioner Wilson hit the point, is downtown. We're trying to revitalize downtown with the areas where like the City Cafe, Ocoee Cafe, and place you can hook up with natural gas, or anything like the brewery and those places can hook up with natural gas. Makes it a lot better to run the lines. And I think I've talked to the neighborhood where I live at, and most of them are in favor of it. So I appreciate it very much. What we have to do is get the city manager, and we'll discuss it, and maybe we'd see if we want to start all the way to Silver Star. I like to do it from the firehouse all the way to Silver Star to start with and get it out of the way. And I understand what you do, you bore under it. It won't mess up anything we've got. So let's see if we'll discuss it and then get back with you. And we appreciate you very much coming out tonight.
Okay.
All righty?
You have some pens on you that we left for you
did?
also as a thank you for allowing us to come in and hopefully serving you. If you take the little cap off the
Light
top
it up.
and press it, it lights up. It has our name and
Is
address.
that used gas?
Yes.
Thank you.
We
All
look
right.
forward to you, serving the city of Ocoee and coming along with you as you do your revitalization of your downtown area.
Got a broke one, but that's a malfunction, but we'll straighten it out.
Okay.
The gas don't work like this, right?
It's not working. I'll give you another.
Hey,
All
send me
right.
that one.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
No, but thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll get back with you, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Now I I got a toy.
I'm a citizen, so I'm gonna flip them.
Yeah.
Oh, you live here too?
Yes.
Oh, great, great. All right. Comments from the citizens and public. All right. Anybody that has any comments that has nothing to do with the commission meeting tonight, then now's the time to do it. And I have two here. I have Stephen Van Varick. Come up to the podium, give us your name.
All you gotta do is give the name out.
Oh, great.
I said, just give me
Yeah, I
your
know,
name.
that's why he looked, he was
She was
looking.
reminding me because she thinks I'm slow.
No.
Hello, my name's Stephen Van Varick. I'm with the Ocoee Lions Club. This is Lion Jim Sills, which mostly everybody knows here. We're here tonight because we put paperwork in today for a special event that we'd like to have on McKee Street on June 1st. We'd like to do a Jeep show, kind of like a car show, but just Jeeps. And we asking for some road closures and some barriers, and to use the city's parking of that grassy area that's off of Blueford that's usually used during any events that are down in the park, like Founder's Day. So basically, we're just here to make you guys aware that we're interested in doing that, and we're hoping for your support in it. And if you have any questions,
You have a date?
June
No date-
1st.
No date yet?
June 1st.
Oh, okay. June the 1st on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and it will be held from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay, all right. Commissioners, anybody have any problem with that? Nope. No problems? We
I'm
need
not
to-
allowed to vote.
I know.
I'm a member of the Lions
All
Club,
right.
so I'll have to fill out the form.
Is this your first, is this your first,
Sorry.
is this your first foray into the Jeep
Yes.
show? Oh,
Yes.
so it's your inaugural,
We've done other functions on McKee Street in the past. This is a new thing for us. We're looking for fundraisers. We, if anybody's familiar with us, we are the Knights of the Blind, so we support blind schools, blind people, collecting eyeglasses, getting people who need eyeglasses and eye surgeries and eye testing. One of our buildings is dedicated to an eyeglass warehouse, and those glasses go not only in town, in our community, other communities, but around the world. So we're looking to keep all those things going, so we need fundraisers to keep stuff like that going.
Who's that young man you brought with you?
Lion Jim Sills.
Line Jim Seals, 205 South Lake Shore Drive, Ocoee, Florida.
No, you're not getting away without saying something, Jim. All right, let's, anybody want to make a motion? Approve it, or do we just need to do, can we do consent on it?
Actually, you should probably make a motion, Mayor, because it does require commission
motion.
approval to close the street.
I need to I need to fill out form,
All right.
that's an
Yeah,
8B,
I'll
because
make
I am a member of the Lions Club.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. Motion made by Commissioner Forster, seconded by Commissioner Brinson. All in favor, let's vote. Motion carries 4 and one abstaining. Commissioner Wilson. You got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next is Ms. Hungerford. Will you come up to the dais and the podium and give us your name, please? Well, we're going to stop giving the addresses out at the podium, so we'll just have it here on your record. Go ahead.
Perfect. My name is Mindy Hungerford, and pardon my water, the pollen is lovely this time of year, so I'm struggling a little bit. Let me introduce myself. I live in Winter Garden, Florida. I know. Y'all don't throw nothing at me now. However, I do attend church here in Ocoee. My children attend Light Christian Academy down the road, and I also volunteer. I'm a full-time artist, and I volunteer my services here. I was also involved in the Deborah Nix fundraiser and was the creator of the Deborah Nix silent auction and executor of that actually brought her home. So I may sleep in Winter Garden, but my heart tends to be in Ocoee.
Well, we appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. So every summer, I go to Uganda. I travel across the globe, and I go to Uganda, and I work there with a ministry called Watoto Ministries. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. They do have a choir of orphan children that come here. I see some people shaking their heads. It's amazing. If you've never seen them, I encourage you to look them up. It's watoto.com. They came to my church a few years ago, and I was so moved by what they're doing. This ministry is changing a nation of people. Anyone can go across the globe and hand out bread. anyone can go across the globe and hand out, shoes. What we do is actually teach life skills and take these women, abandoned women and children who have no rights. It's, we're so blessed to be in America. If you don't know you're blessed, you're so blessed. And what I go there and do is, as I'm an artist, I take any of the women and children with any artistic, abilities or like a love for that, and I actually teach them how to paint, how to make money doing that. A lot of these women can't read. We get them the resources they need to be able to read. The children go to school full time. They get dental care, medical care, all of these things. I tell you that to tell you this. I started fundraising. I get myself there. I completely pay for my own trip. The money that I bring there goes to the abandoned women and children. This event that I put on is called Second Chance Prom. It is prom for grown-ups. Super fun. My prom was garbage when I was back in 1999. So I wanted to relive it with a guy that wasn't going to lead me on the dance floor with my best friend and all that good stuff. So now every year I get to take my husband, and all of our friends and family and people in the community come, and we get all dressed up, and we dance, and we eat, and we take cheesy prom photos, and it is so much fun. So you're all invited. So I want to have it this year at the Gym Beach Center. The reason is it has gotten so big. This event has gotten so big. We are expecting 250 people this year, and the facility is amazing. Where you guys come in is waiving that little fee so I can bring more funds to Uganda. Is there any questions?
Mark, you want to come up? For Recreation Director. The date, what's the date?
June 8th. It is a Saturday.
All right. Is it open for that, Mark, on June the 8th?
Good evening. It's open after 6 o'clock that day. We have
Right.
youth basketball in the morning. Then
So it's viable to use?
Yes.
All right, the only thing we'd have to do is, and if we approve not the charges, to have the deposit, $350, but you get that back after. it's
Not a
over.
problem.
So if it's okay, and we can get everybody here and see if they have any problems with it. Anybody? No problem. Do we need to vote on that too, Rob?
That's fine. I just wanted to clarify because typically we end up giving it away at no cost, but we never address the deposit issue. So.
Well, that goes back.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It's
that's
not really
an issue.
cost. It's not really
That, like,
cost.
Make sure something happens.
Right, as long as there's no damage.
Of course,
They'll
of course.
return the check to you, so,
You got it.
all right. Well, you, let us know how it went, okay?
I expect all of you to be there. I will have a table for you guys. You won't have a microphone, though, just a table.
We don't have to dance, do we?
Yeah, you can dance.
All right. Is there consensus okay, Rob?
That's fine.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you got it.
Thank you so much. God
Thank you.
bless you
Very
guys.
good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
You know, we got some nice houses in Ocoee too, you know.
I know. Look, I can send them to my husband.
All right. Next is Brother Bill Maxwell. Or Major Bill.
Rather work, sir. Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. My name is William Maxwell. I live in Ocoee, and my purpose for being here this evening is to make a public announcement of an intended or requested visit of the United States Military Academy Law Department to the city of Ocoee on the 29th of May. There'll be 4 professors and a contingent of 7 cadets from the United States Military Academy. This is what they call a civil rights staff ride, and they will be visiting through the states of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri, Michigan, and Ohio. And this is some fallout from our attendance at the National Symposium that took place at the University of Florida on the week of 21 through 23 March, wherein 4 of us participated, and we told the story of Ocoee, 100 years of reconciliation and accountability. They have requested through Dr. Ortiz, the director of the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program at the University of Florida, a visit with the city of Ocoee. I pass this on to staff, to City Manager Frank, and we only await further instructions and details to put the program into motion, and ask your approval and blessings to have such a contingency from the highest order of military attend our city.
Where would it be at?
Well, that has to be worked out, the details with the staff, and hopefully we'll have a venue of equitable status for a visiting group that I would equate to that of a senatorial visit.
All righty. Is that okay with everybody? Comments?
When is the date?
Sir, the date right now is proposed for 29 May. There are some details that I do not have yet, in that I could not communicate with them directly because I had not received your approval, but didn't want to sit on it and have them think that we were non-responsive. I will, upon further contact with them, work out the details of their itinerary, their planned itinerary, and we'll plan to host them accordingly.
Could
Are
you
these
the name of the
motorcycle-
event again?
I'm sorry?
The name of the event again?
The
you have a name of it?
the Law Department of the United States Military Academy, West Point, and 4 of its professors, with a contingency of 7 military cadets, are engaged in what they call a Civil Rights Staff March. And they will be visiting the states that I named. I think there was like 7 or 8 states. And ours is requested as one of the first stops on their visit as they engage on this 8 or 9 week venture through the summer, their summer training.
What are some of the subject matter that they discuss or they talk about, or during these visits? You have an outline of what goes on at these types of events?
Well, I'm not really sure what subject matter they will be providing on to us, but what they are seeking from us is information on the history of Ocoee. And, you know, the best way that we can accommodate that is to provide them with the information that we prepared and presented at the symposium that took place in Gainesville 21 through 23 March, in which 4 of us made that presentation to an audience of perhaps 300 to 500 people.
So you're actually bringing the same information, but you want to do it more localized with that group?
Same information,
Yep.
but I would caution you and say that this is perhaps the beginning of much fallout from the contacts that we made there, and there will be several and many other requests of people coming here asking to know more about our illustrious city.
All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody have a problem with that? We can work out the details and get back to us, get back with staff, okay? Bill?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. She did send an email to me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. She even had the train route. That's military.
The proposed itinerary, as I have foreseen it now, is that they will be traveling from West Point, New York, to Florida via train. And she has suggested this so that the students would be taught somewhere along the line of this rail movement the inconsistencies and the indignities that African Americans were exposed to during that era of time when forced to ride trains and be subjected to the use of limited facilities along the way and what have you. It's a symposium type lesson plan that she and the law department at West Point has been engaged in now for a period of about 7 years.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. That'd be interesting. Thank you. All right. Anybody else in the audience have anything that's not on the agenda they want to talk on? If not, we're going to close that and come to staff reports.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right. We'll have the commissioner's announcements. Commissioner Oliver.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Forstner,
Not at this time.
Commissioner Wilson,
Not at this time.
Commissioner Bretson.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I had a conversation with the director of the Small Business Administration out at GOA, the airport, and what he wants to do is have a small business fair out here in the west side, in West Orange County, specifically in Ocoee. So he's looking forward to doing that, and so that's something that, you know, we're going to talk. I talked with the city manager, and we're going to have a conversation with a few other entities and see if we can pull that off. Also had a conversation with the city clerk's general counsel, who wants to do a voters' rights restoration fair, once again out here in West Orange County, specifically in Ocoee. And they want to pull that off as well. And that fair, they want to have all the different entities that some of the returning citizens are having to get certificates from in one place. So they want to try to pull that off as well. And then the last thing is Rick Singh told me that he wants to come out to Ocoee to do a State of Orange County. So those are the things.
So just give us the dates and the time.
Yeah, we're still working out on those details, one of which I think it might be a good idea if once the Lakeshore Center is finished, have at least one of these events in the Lakeshore Center, because it'll bring more attention to what we're doing there. But we're trying to get all these events happening before the end of the year. And if not, then, you know, into the first part of next year.
Sounds great. Thank you. All right. Anybody have any comments on that?
No?
Nope, okay. All right, I got some announcements here. The city will be holding its annual Easter Egg Extravaganza event on Saturday, April the 20th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Jim Beach Recreation Center. This is a fun-filled morning with exciting activities such as the Easter egg hunt for children ages infant through 12 years of age, bounce houses, face painting, food, refreshments, and pictures with the Easter Bunny. The egg hunt will begin at 10:30. Do not get in their way. There is a bunch of them. Invitations for the city's annual Volunteer Appreciation Dinner were sent out by email. This is an event hosted by the city to thank all those residents who serve our community by volunteering on our city boards. I look forward to honoring all our volunteers next week, Thursday, April the 25th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 at the Women's Club of Ocoee. If you are on a city board and did not RSVP, please be sure to contact Joy Wright at jwright@ocoee.org. The Parks and Recreation Department will be hosting the annual Big Orange Games event on Saturday, April the 27th at Ocoee High School. Restoration begins at 8:45 with the opening ceremony starting at 9:15 a.m. If you have not been to one of those, if you want some gratifying feelings, go to that and watch these young people strive to do something that we all take for granted. The Parks and Recreation Department will be, let's see how I said that. The Family Aquatic Center opens up Saturday, May the 4th. The pool is located at 1820 A.D. Mims Road, adjacent to the Jim Beach Rec Center. The pool is open every day of the week. Please visit the city's website under Family Aquatic Center to view the pool hours. All right, I need a consent agenda. Anybody have a motion or comment?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver to approve the consent agenda as written. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forstner. Anybody have any comments on it? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right. All right, public hearings, number 7, Arden Park North Phase 4B, large-scale preliminary final subdivision plan project. City planner Rumor.
Thank you, Mayor. Mike Rumor, Development Services. The item before you is approval for the City Commission. It's a one motion. It's approval of the preliminary and final subdivision plan for Arden Park Phase 4B. We also have Arden Park Phase 5 after this. The property the general area of Arden Park is,
Hold on a minute, Mike. Sir, Bill. All right, sorry. Go
is
ahead.
identified in the location map. It is, Arden Park has, the Phase 1 is south side of Ocoee. Phase 2 and 3 through Phase 5 is on the north side. Presently, if you go on Ingram Road, you're going to see Phase 3A and 3B and 4A under construction. The developer wants to just continue the process with their site contractor and develop out the rest of the property. This is Phase 3A and 3B, and Phase 4 is under construction. This aerial doesn't show that, indicate such. What you're gonna, by both motions, by both projects, 4A and 4B and 5, it'll continue the development of Arden Park, minus the phase, which is shown Phase 6, which is held out in case the school board wants to purchase it. We have got word from the school board, they do not want to purchase that property for a school. The developer can then come back at a later date and modify the PUD, and they get some residential units out of that. The Phase 4B, which is highlighted, consists of 54 acres, of which 102 single-family lots are proposed. That lot makeup is 45 by 120, 55 by 120, and 65 by 120. As this phase of the development for 4B does not touch any of the perimeter except on the north, which is McCormick Reserve, there's really not much infrastructure to discuss of any stature. But what I do want to point out to the commission is there was one change from the original PUD. The original PUD had this road cross the wetlands, so you really had a ring road around the lake. That has been modified. They've moved the road out. There is not a wetland impact, which was considered early on in the plan unit development, which was approved in 2000. I want to go ahead and show you kind of sort of how it will look at build out, and I want to discuss housing type. If you've been out to Arden Park, it's got a lot of natural park space. It's got the lake in the middle, which has come back and has a lot of water in it. They're building a new clubhouse with Phase 3. Generally, I know there's been comments in the past with regards to this subdivision in the trips of these phases. So I've provided some information to show you as part of the original approval of Arden Park in 2000, and it was modified 2006 and 2009. There was conditions of approval and a development agreement that was adopted. The items dealing with traffic required a number of things. First one is they had to make a payment of $250,000. Initially, it thought that payment would go to signalize Clark Road and Ocoee Road. Since that time, Ocoee Road has been widened. There's a signal there. There was an amendment to the agreement that says you still have to make that payment, but it doesn't have to necessarily be designated for a specific transportation improvement, and you don't get any impact fee credits for that. So as we stand today, we received that payment of $250,000. It's in an account. It's not in general transportation impact fees. So we have $250,000 to kind of use for a project in the area, not specific. Secondly, they had a requirement to construct the extension of Clark Road they had the requirement to construct, design, engineer, and construct the western 2 lanes, and also the extension all the way up past the proposed school site to the property line. I'll show you that on the aerial. Extended all the way up to this point. Oak Trail Reserve designed, engineered, and constructed the east 2 lanes up to their entrance, and Arden Park has to design, engineer, construct the west 2 lanes and the continuance of the road all the way up to where it meets up. So Clark Road will connect through. That commitment has been met, mostly. We have the engineered plans for Clark Road by the engineers. So they've designed and engineered. We just have some final comments, but we have the roadway plans. and they have to construct it once they get to phase 5. With this approval, they are not doing phase 3, then coming back phase 4, coming back phase 5. We're doing phase 4 and 5 right now. So they have to construct Clark Road. The only area we're deficient, going back to the original approval of the projects, I'm going to go back to this map, is there's a faint, you can see it in the TVs, this yellow circle. There was a provision that either Oak Trail Reserve or Arden Park design, engineer the south part of Clark Road, south of Ocoee. Because presently, if they were going to construct the western 2 lanes, you would have a 4-lane road terminating at a 2-lane road. If either Oak Trail or Arden Park design and engineer and construct, the city has to either pay them back or give them impact fee credits. Not knowing when Arden Park, at the time Oak Trail came in, was going to come through with their development, we did not, under the Oak Trail subdivision, have them design or engineer the plans and have shovel-ready plans and receive impact fee credits for it. We have the ability to enter negotiations with Arden Park. Now, as I said, they're still doing the site work on phase 4A and 3. By the time they finish the site work of phase 5, we have time to work in a CIP, look at that $250,000 or a portion of it to get the southern part of Clark Road designed and engineered and possibly constructed. So we have a 4-lane continuing to a 4-lane south, and that improvement would also open up some of Ocoee and Clark Road for some of the deficiencies that maybe the signal timing is not. So what I have today is we have the engineered plans for the Clark Road extension. We have the $250,000 mitigation fee. That development agreement and the approval of that PUD vested those trips. So you're going to see new homes coming out, but they're not new trips. The trips are in our background concurrency management system because this project got vested when they broke ground and made some improvements. So I kind of just want to relay, these are not new trips coming, and they have facilitated and fulfilled most of the development agreement. They will fulfill it all when they actually construct the road, the Clark Road extension. And then when we're in our CIP process and budget, we can look at this intersection and decide if we want to try to fund or come up with a plan for that 4-laning. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
All right. What we're going to do first before I bring it to the dais, we're going to open the public hearing. Public hearing on this. Anybody in the public here for that issue? Want to talk, say anything? Anybody pertaining to this? All right. We'll close the public hearing and bring it back up to the dais. Commissioner Brinson.
Two-part question. On the OCPS piece, is the development of Clark Road, the north side of Clark Road, contingent on OCPS putting a school there or not?
If OCPS was going to put a school there, they would have had a requirement to construct the road. If not, the developer has the.
So as it stands now, the school board is not, has the school board told us they're not going to put a school there? Or
They
we
have
just
told the-
haven't told us they are?
They haven't provided it in a letter. They've told the home builder, the developer, that they do not wish to purchase that property.
Is that it? Yes. Okay. Commissioner Wilson, you have any comments?
I have nothing at this time.
No. Mr. Oliver?
Yes. First, let me thank you for providing the trips, the information about the infrastructure with this particular project, Arden Park North. As you know, we've had several conversations about it, and that is in my district, and I'm very interested to know how things are going to progress as we start building these homes and the infrastructure and how it's going to impact traffic. So thank you for doing that and not glazing over that or passing by that part. Secondly, I'm hearing a couple things here. I'm hearing $250,000, which I like that. That sounds really good. And I'm hearing the south side of Clark Road development into, we're talking about the 4 lanes, making Clark Road a 4-lane highway from 80 Mims all the way up to Claricone, Ocoee, and doing the engineering designing for that. The question I have is, when it pertaining to that, and there's also the expansion of Clark Road here, from here, Claricone, Ocoee Road here, going all the way up to McCormick, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so, and that is a part of, supposedly, the engineering phase would be a part of Arden Park North Phase 4 and 5 being built, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, would it be feasible to take that $250,000 to continue Clark Road to relieve traffic, or to concentrate on trying to get the engineering plans for the 4-lane highway from 80 Mims to Claricone, Ocoee?
So the 250 doesn't come into play. They have to engineer and construct. It's 4-laning up to an entrance point here, and then it'll pare down the 2 lanes. 250,000 doesn't come into play. We still have that. They have to make that improvement.
You have to do that.
Yes.
So we could actually use that for
Yes.
something else?
Yeah, and let me remind you, with Clark Road south of Claricone, Ocoee, we have all of the right-of-way. So that's a big part. We don't have to purchase it. We have the right-of-way. We just need fill and a design and engineer and someone to construct it.
What would be the cost to do the engineering design for Clark Road, extending it to be 4 lanes?
So if this section, I think I was told, don't quote me on it, but around less than 30,000. And it would be from Claricone, Ocoee down to this Orchard Park is what the development agreement says, and that kind of really makes sense. That gives you enough stacking. To go past Orchard Park, you would be taking all the way to Hackney Prairie, and would increase the cost.
Well, how about, I understand that's just a part of it, but the whole goal is to go from Claricone, Ocoee all the way to 80 Mims.
Yes.
Or just south of 80 Mims, or north of it, I'm sorry.
Oh, the full.
Yeah, right by the
sorry, I didn't
fire,
catch
the
it.
fire
Okay.
station,
Yes.
from the fire station all the way to Claricone, Ocoee.
Yes, I do not have that it would be the west 2 lanes and finishing out the median. Presently, the east side of the median has a curb and it's sort of set up already, but I don't have that distance, that length, and that cost right now.
So the cost, there's definitely a cost to engineer that, but as far as the expansion of Clark Road all the way to McCormick is already a part of the design.
That's already done, yes.
Okay, all right.
And
So
they have to construct.
it sounds to me that I would like to get more information about the cost from the fire station all the way to Claricone, Ocoee. What would that cost be?
Yes.
And once that's done, is it shovel-ready at that point?
We can get you the cost to engineer it and the basic cost to do the road construction, but we would have to hire a company to design and engineer, then it would be shovel-ready.
Okay,
But we do have the right-of-way, which is a big part of the cost to do those type of projects.
all right.
And
So, safe to say that you can get back with us to give
Yes,
us a
certainly,
cost
part
for
of our
that?
CIP process, we will be looking at that.
How about the development right about 80 Mill Road? We talked about that, I think it was a couple of meetings ago, the sale of that property and the development of that piece with the actually widening of the road. Could we
It's
actually
4-lane,
bring in
that's where
impact
just-
fees to help with that as well?
That would generate impact fees. That portion of road does not need to be modified in front of that parcel. It is already 4 lanes. It tears down just by the fire station.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else have any more comments? Not, I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, number 8, Arden Park North Phase 5, large-scale preliminary final subdivision plan, Commissioner Rumor.
Sort of all the same comments. This is the area which would be adjacent to Clark Road. You see the second entrance to Clark Road would be provided at this point, and you would have then the 2 laning going down through this section up to the property line. But this does provide for 89 more lots, and it's pretty much the same lot mix, 45, 55, 65s. In the whole PUD, you have from 45 all the way up to 85-foot wide lots. Bulk of the larger lots are on Arden Park South. You have an entrance point off of Claricona Ocoee. You'll have a second entrance off Clark Road. This tract is the new amenity tract for Arden Park Phase North. It's a very nice large pool, clubhouse, really upgraded features. And you continue with a trail around the lake and lots of open space parks. If you've been in there, that theme continues.
All right. Anybody up here have any comments? Commissioner Brinson?
Public hearing?
Huh?
Public hearing?
I'm going to do that. I'm
Oh,
going to ask
okay.
you now.
Sorry.
Anybody else? All right, I'm going to open for public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments pertaining to item 8, Arden Park North Phase 5? All right, I'll close it, bring it back to the dais. And once again, anybody have any comments? I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the Arden Park North Phase 5 large-scale preliminary final subdivision plan.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, first reading of ordinances, public hearing, item 9. First reading of ordinance for Ocoee Village Center PUD large-scale comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning to planned unit development, land use plan. All right, this will be, let's see, it'll be back, second reading will be,
Mayor, this is for the
this
main.
is that one we had last meeting?
Well, yes, we have to.
Put it off.
The public hearing and the motion you guys will be making is to transmit this large-scale amendment to the state.
State, right.
They have a 30-day review period, of which then we either come back and adopt or we have to answer questions. So we don't have a date certain for a second hearing yet.
Would you like me to read the title?
Yes.
An ordinance, I'll read both titles, starting with the comp plan amendment. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from low-density residential to high-density residential and commercial for certain real property containing approximately 73.17 acres located on the north and south sides of Claricona Ocoee Road, east side of State Road 429 Expressway, north, south, and east sides of North Lakewood Avenue, and at the eastern terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, providing for transmittal, authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the second ordinance is your rezoning ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Ocoee R1A to Ocoee PUD, Plan Unit Development, on certain real property containing approximately plus or minus 73.17 acres located on the north and south sides of Claricona Ocoee Road, east side of State Road 429 Expressway, north, south, and east sides of North Lakewood Avenue, and at the eastern terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
So the project you're seeing is changing the future land use map of quite a large piece of property, over 10 acres, it's 70-something acres, and it's also rezoning it to PUD, Plan Unit Development. So the applicant's trying to form his own sort of zoning district. If you got tired of scrolling on your iPad looking at your agenda packet, with a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment, they have to provide data and analysis that tells us, the city, and tells people that by changing the land use from residential to higher residential and commercial, the level of services will or will not be affected, and this is how they'll mitigate those effects. So we transmit this package to the state, to several state agencies, the state planning organization, several state agencies, and the surrounding jurisdictions, Apopka, Orange County, Winter Garden, Windermere. And so there's a lot that goes into it. You have a lot of information. And what they're trying to show you is changing the land use is okay. We can compensate, or there is no compensation required. Then we have the second aspect of the project, what they're trying to sell and try to getting approved on the project. The property is located, it's 3 parcels. It's on the north and south side of Ocoee Road and the east side of North Lakewood. There's this sort of wedge piece. Right, presently, you drive up North Lakewood, you make a right, and there's a signal here. They have all 3 properties under contract. The properties are located in an overlay called the Interchange Character Area. We have 3 character areas, a part of our 429 corridor. This is in the Interchange Character Area. The property is a pine forest, all the pieces. It's adjacent to the 429, the entrance ramp onto the 429, adjacent to the Forest Lake Golf Course. You have a lot of single-family residential on the east side, which is mostly in unincorporated Orange County on the east-south side, and even the west side, you have larger tracts with farms. The current land use of all 3 properties is low-density residential. That allows a density of 4 houses per the acre. Under traditional zoning of R1, they can come in with a subdivision and do single-family homes and achieve no more than 4 houses an acre. Under traditional subdivision land development code requirements, you really achieve 3.5. You don't really ever achieve that 4 because of stormwater and right-of-way. The proposed change, they want to change the 73 acres from low-density residential. They want to do a mixture of high-density residential, commercial, and again, high-density residential. That's going to generate a lot of things: students, trips, water, sewer consumption. The map you see, we're going to send to the state, say this is what the currently is, this is what the proposal is, and we have the data and analysis to say it can support. The applicant is present. He's going to give a presentation. I'm also going to have my urban designer come up and kind of talk a little bit more about the overlay aspects of the interchange and how this project does and does not meet the overlay intent. The crux of the project is in the high density, as I said, high density on the north and commercial. There is apartments proposed at a unit count of 316. It is fronted with commercial along Ocoee Road with buildings, the commercial buildings up near the road. There is a specific designated site for a hotel. You have approval of up to 150,000 square feet of commercial non-residential. We're setting the limit. They could not, if they want to develop higher intensity, we would have to amend the PUD and amend some of the data analysis. So they're capping the maximum amount of commercial, and they're capping the residential to the 316 units of apartments. And then we have a townhome development, which makes the bulk of the rest of this high-density residential down here. Under the City of Ocoee's comprehensive plan, as I said, low-density residential allows 4 dwelling units an acre. Medium-density residential allows from 4 to 8 dwelling units an acre, and high-density goes up to 16 dwelling units an acre. However, in our overlays, in some of our overlays, we do allow a density bonus. If you meet some guidelines, you can go a little bit higher than 16 dwelling units an acre. The townhomes are located in this high-density residential area. There's 196 units, townhomes. The townhome development is proposed to be gated. There is a number of linear parks. There's some public space that the applicant will provide you a nice detailed presentation. I do want to call out that there is another public road, so the properties to the east will have the ability to access North Lakewood. It's a new redesigned North Lakewood. Presently, it comes up this way and cuts across, and they would have the ability to access North Lakewood through this new public road, which is in the rear of the commercial. So you have commercial lining Ocoee, residential to the north, residential to the south. There's a lot of lines on this map, and it's indicating that at the intersection of Fuller's Cross and Lakewood Avenue, their transportation study indicated a need that this intersection would fail, and you have a couple options. You can signalize the intersection, you can put a stop sign, four-way stop at the intersection, and with some review from a transportation consultant, we looked at the idea of putting a roundabout in this location, meeting the present right-of-way and taking some of the land that the applicant is proposing. So you will see in his design that there is a roundabout which will really function, we think, a lot better than certainly a four-way stop or a signalized intersection. The development requires some vacation of roads. In order, presently you drive north on Lakewood, you make a right on this little liner road, and you have a signal. The proposal is to develop a new Lakewood. The applicant would pay for all the costs of the design, engineer, construction, receive no impact fee credits, no repayment from the city for that. The apartment community has a very specific layout that staff and our urban design team worked with the applicant to come with a multifamily project that is workable. The applicant has also committed to limiting the amount of 3 bedrooms in the multifamily to 10%. So you'll be mostly 1 and 2 bedrooms. The applicant has also committed to a hotel parcel that is only allowed to be a hotel, would have to come back and amend the plan if the hotel does not work out and he has another offer. The townhome development does create block sections, sort of trying to comply with the overlay. It is a private gated subdivision, so you don't have the ability for the public to enjoy and traverse through the project other than through this public road. They are providing a large open space park, linear park aspect to the project, which meets the overlay. And again, I'll have my urban designer come up here and speak to that more. There is a proposed site for a grocer. Presently, they are only bringing 1 commercial user to the table. Maybe 2, but maybe a bank, he can expand it. But he has a gas station, a racetrack, LOI, letter of intent for contract on this portion. As part of staff's review, and this has been about a year process, he's going to also identify the area with a wall system along Ocoee. He has a really nice presentation which will do a better job of showing how this works. But I want to tell you that staff's position on this project, this is a really large project, 74 acres. It has elements of attached single family. It has the multifamily apartments. It has commercial. It's not bringing anything sexy to us at this point. Staff is supportive of the project only in this configuration. Only if the apartments stay in this configuration where you have this boulevard, you have majority of the apartments lining the golf course, and I'll have my designer kind of go into this context a little bit more. Only supportive with this large public park and this long linear park. The developer is going to go through a lot of numbers of which it's going to be a benefit to the city with tax and impact fees. One thing I do want to say is they're bringing at their cost, no incentives requested, no incentives offered. They will be bringing upgraded water and sewer all the way up to the north and building a lift station that enables the properties to the west to develop. That is a big element of the overlay, is getting this quadrant of the West Road interchange developed. By bringing up the upgraded water and sewer and a large lift station, we can now service these future properties, which in the overlay is really more intended to be all single family residential. Again, this is a large project. You can review his PowerPoint and some of the economic benefits. There are some benefits with a new Lakewood Avenue. There's water and sewer benefits. We are also providing a list of permitted and prohibited uses with this, which you will come back, when it comes back, if it makes it through transmittal under a development agreement, we'll have a list of uses that you will see and you can add and take away. He is also committed to a development scenario where the percentage of residential units that can come out of the ground depends on how much commercial has come out of the ground. So we will not have the Park Place apartment scenario or Arbor's apartment if this goes where all the apartments are built and the commercial's sitting out there just waiting. They only get 50% of the apartments, and they've got to bring in a hotel or a certain percentage of commercial. Same thing with the townhomes. The project really provides what the intent of the overlay was, to get the area developed at a better scale than just the single family, 4 units to the acre. It doesn't meet all the criteria, and I'm going to have Peter come up, my urban designer, and discuss that with you real quick.
Good evening, Commission. As Mike mentioned earlier, I'll be talking about the design aspects of Ocoee Village Center and how it relates to the Interchange Village Character Area Design Plan. So as Mike mentioned, we do have increased design standards for this area. It's more akin to what's happening in our downtown and our CRA area. So we're looking for increased planning principles and then architectural principles as well. So you can see the overall master plan for the Interchange Village. You'll see density along Clark-County Ocoee Road. It features residential, commercial, and then we've got multifamily townhomes, and then it fades out into single-family residential. The big key here is notice that there is a comprehensive grid system throughout, and then everything is rear-loaded. So you'll notice that the residential section features alleys, and that the commercial, more dense section features parking in the back there, and there are pocket parks interlaced throughout. This is an ideal perspective of the Interchange Village Character Area, featuring well-defined streets, generous sidewalks, and a tree canopy. There are 4 development themes within the character area that we are trying to abide by. So we're looking for a livable transportation network, a strong sense of place, a mixed and multi-use development, and a robust public realm. As Mike mentioned earlier, there are 316 luxury apartment units proposed over 14.89 acres, so it grosses out to be about 21 units an acre there. So there is 4-story buildings. They started off to be 5-story. It's been whittled down to 4, so it won't be quite as stark of a contrast for the surrounding context, which is mostly featuring mostly 1-story buildings. This is the same area of the character area master plan. So we're looking at retail, mostly retail, with parking in the back there, with a circulation system throughout, and then parking, and then detention in the back there. This is a view looking south towards Clark-County Ocoee of the multifamily. You'll see that the development is anchored by a central boulevard, and then it flanks off to the different apartment units, and then a clubhouse that's at the bottom screen there. So we assessed the area according to how it met the 7 design principles listed in the character area design plan. We concluded that the developer's concept meets 3 of the design principles. Others could be met, but we didn't have the architecture at the time to make that determination. I believe we just received the architecture at this point. We will later assess that. The first principle that the development meets is that the site improvements should promote pedestrian activity. They should provide an active and pedestrian-oriented street edge along public sidewalks. So they're accomplishing that by providing a generous sidewalk into the, through the center boulevard there. And then they have sidewalks throughout, and then they're putting parking in the back essentially. So it's giving a very walkable area for pedestrians in that area. Second principles meeting is that it should have an increased sense of place. So they're doing this by a well-defined streetscape with buildings that front the street, create that strong edge. And then through a terminating axis, they're using the clubhouse to accomplish that. It's a traditional town planning principle that's been used for centuries. So the third principle they're doing is essentially hiding the parking, reducing the footprint of the parking, placing the parking in the back away from the central boulevard. And in terms of parking ratio, ideally in this area we're looking for a ratio of 1.5 spaces per unit. They're offering 1.7, but keep in mind this isn't a true mixed-use area where you have people coming and going at different times of the day because of different uses. This is a single use, so 1.7 is appropriate for this area. And then transitioning south to the townhome district that Mike had mentioned earlier. This area features a mix of 1 and 2 car garage units. We started off with, I think, just 1 car garage units and increased it to 2 car garage units. They're featuring a public park along Lakeshore, and then there's an amenity center that is directly adjacent to that public park there. This is the same area of the character area master plan. It's featuring a mix of multifamily, retail, single family in there, and townhomes. This is a shot looking northeast. You can see Lakewood in the left corner there. It's townhomes, and they have a detention pond buffering the front edges of the development. This is a shot looking southeast. So we've concluded that the townhome section of the master plan meets 2 of the 7 design principles. First one is similar to the multifamily, where they're providing an active pedestrian streetscape. So they're providing sidewalks throughout, providing a park along the edge on Lakeshore, and then an amenity center. The second principle is that they're accomplishing a sense of place by essentially fronting the buildings towards the park. And then they're just offering parks throughout the development to increase that sense of place. So these are the townhome elevations. So they're proposing a 4-unit townhome and a 6-unit townhome building. The townhome elevations need further developments in order to meet the architecturally oriented design principles within our character area. And what I mean by that is they need to read as individual units. So this is a precedent of what of a well-developed townhome building should look like. There is change in pattern, material, and there's vertical elements at each unit. It gives it a more canon sense of design, and it breaks down that scale a little better.
And so, as with regards to the process, the public hearing aspect is to transmit to the opportunity to change the land uses to high density and commercial. However, the next step when it comes back would be this plan unit development. And so I don't believe the applicant would be okay with just changing the land use and calling it a day and say, let's work on this plan more. It's kind of a package together at the end when it comes back from transmittal. And so with that, I will entertain any questions, and the applicant does have a presentation as well.
Well, first, I think we'll go ahead and make comments. Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at the, you say 1.7 vehicles per unit? Is that?
The parking ratio for a general suburban apartment is 2.25. In an urban area, it assumes that you're going to have on-street parking like we do on Blueford, and so you can reduce the parking on site. It also considers the fact that people will not necessarily, these are not going to all be passed by trips. People will live in shops, so they can walk to facilities and will be more prone to maybe use the bus or a bicycle. So you don't achieve the full parking ratio of 2.25. They're proposing a parking ratio of 1.7. The way that works in the real world is you've got to build a product that will be able to be parked. And the 1.7, I think most of the Oasis Apartments on Blueford behind the racetrack is an urban, and we have on-street parking, and that's at 1.7, 1.8. So it's not a big deviance from your normal suburban parking.
Yeah. And with that property down there, I'm not sure if the public transportation that's available down there helps with the parking, but up here, you know, there's
Yeah, we don't have any
public
bus. Correct.
transportation
Yes.
up here, so
Yes.
that may have some effect on the number of vehicles, I guess. But this is a gated community?
The townhomes would be gated.
Okay, and the impact, have we looked at the impact on the roads?
Yes, a traffic study was done and it indicated 2 issues. Most of the trips were taking Claricone Ocoee, which is a 4-lane road, getting on the 429. It identified an issue at Fuller's Cross and Ocoee Apopka Road. But because the city already has a project, a plan, it's under construction, it's under design and construction, we cannot make them mitigate that project by law. The other impact was at Fuller's Cross Road in North Lakewood, and that's why that's where the roundabout came to sort of mitigate that issue.
That's all I have for now.
Mr. Wilson.
I think it's time.
Mr. First.
We all recognized that the north end of the city was going to be developed. I don't think we realized that it was all going to be developed at the same time. We've
Hear,
got
hear.
3 projects in this one agenda tonight that's going to take up a big chunk of the north end of the city. That being said, it just makes me a little concerned. Are our streets and our services and our infrastructure going to be able to handle this type of development? I know you analyze it on each and every project, and it seems to balance out. But should we be worried about our local street system, whether it's going to be able to handle all these additional trips that are being dumped on it every day?
The trips that will be coming, the number of houses we have coming out of the ground on this northern part of Ocoee is close to 1,000. This would add another 500 units to that. You could argue that this is a different type of a trip than all the regular single-family houses. We know that we have the benefit of Claricone Ocoee being widened. We have the benefit of the 429 being in place. The roads we're looking at in the area would be a potential future widening of North Lakewood south of Fuller's Cross and also Ocoee Apopka Road. Those are roads that are not programmed to be upgraded. In the science, and I know I saw it on the slide, he'll show you that the roads are not technically overcrowded. This project, those other projects are already considered in the background trips, even though the homes are not there. This project on its own does not raise any of those level of service on the roads higher and make them failing. That would have been identified, and you would have to mitigate that. Arden Park did years ago. Claricone Ocoee was just a little 2-lane road. That's why they had to build a road, and they had to mitigate with a $250,000 payment.
I understand that.
So,
and you
perceived-
feel comfortable with the level of progress we're making here?
Yes, yes. I think you'll see a change in traffic behaviors when Clark Road is extended. I think you'll see a change in traffic behaviors when the intersection improvements at Fuller's Cross and Ocoee Apopka, when the new Lakewood Avenue, North Lakewood, gets constructed, I think you'll see more people using that road to get to our downtown than using Ocoee Apopka Road.
I know, because that's a back street now, really.
It's-
You
yeah,
know,
it's a-
there's nothing out there, and this is going to change everything.
Yes, we do have the charter school out there, but yes.
One other question. When our streets reach capacity, does that mean we will be at gridlock?
It means that at peak times, potentially, but not on an average, not on a daily basis throughout the day. And so you have a level of service for peak hour, peak AM, peak PM, in the daily trip. It doesn't mean you'll be at gridlock, no, it does not. The level of service and the number of trips were not programmed to be at gridlock.
Okay, I trust you.
Stay home between 5 and 7.
Mr. Oliver?
I have similar concerns, especially with the amount of building that we're doing development in the northern part of our city. And what I would like to see just one time, when we presented with these projects, that you'll lead with infrastructure. I would like to see it led off. I would like to see a project one day, one developer come to us and say, hey, look, let's talk about the infrastructure first, and then we'll present the project. So I've yet to see that, and I hope one day that I will see it one day. So I do have similar concerns as Commissioner Firstner. But we talk about the science of all this. We talk about the trips, we talk about the lights, we talk about capacity, we talk about so many different things when it comes to these projects. But to me, when I look at it in layman's terms, I see cars. I see so many units being built in so many, within a landmass, and I see people driving their cars in these units. And I see these cars hitting streets. I know there's been studies done before, there's been studies done years back, and to be honest with you, that really doesn't mean anything to me. When I know that once these developments come to fruition, there's there's families that's going to be moving there. There's going to be kids going to the high school. There's going to be kids going to the middle school, elementary school. There's going to be cars. And I don't see a plan for infrastructure, so it gives me pause when I see these large-scale plans, but no developers coming to us talking about the infrastructure. So I do have some concern.
All right, we're going to open the discussion to the public.
Have the applicant first.
That's what I'm going to let the applicant come up and talk now. I'm going to let the applicant come up now during the public thing. And they can ask questions.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Richard Wolfarth. I live at 1642 Bridgewater Drive at Lake Mary, Florida. And Commissioner Oliver, see if I can maybe try to, before I start my presentation, address infrastructure and what we've looked at even before we got involved with the project. First of all, as Peter has pointed out, the city did a very detailed study back in 2007. And the one thing that, there are some conditions, there are some principles, but there's also some guidance. The one thing you learn and you see in that report and many reports, you try to concentrate your higher densities near higher areas of roadways, like the 429 in Ocoee, which we did. That's why the commercial, as is in the study, is where you see it along Ocoee. Makes sense. The second part we look at is if we go ahead and look at our project, what infrastructure is available? Because obviously, forgetting about traffic for a moment, let's talk about utilities. If I'm in an area of the city that has inadequate water mains and inadequate wastewater services and reuse, then obviously, having a project like this wouldn't make any sense. So we did verify at the corner of Fuller's Cross and North Lakewood Avenue. There's a 12-inch line that comes up the road. It makes a bend on Fuller's Cross and goes to the west, which provides more than ample water to meet all the fire needs, to meet all the needs of the domestic for the project. Additionally, the force main. There's a force main just south of us on Fuller's Cross, also on North Lakewood Avenue, capable of taking care of this project. So we said, okay, so we checked two boxes. Reuse, a little bit to the east on Ocoee. So we clearly looked at three major elements of infrastructure to make sure that we would be able to meet and take care of us from a level of service. For two reasons. First of all, if the water main is 10 miles away and we have to extend it to make this project work, the feasibility may not be there. But the feasibility is there for water, wastewater, and reuse. Next area of infrastructure, solid waste. We looked at the capacity of the solid waste, would it be able to support this? Number of pounds of solid waste created by this project, and is it going to be a problem? The answer is no. There's plenty of solid waste. The capacity is there. We meet our level of service. So level of service on the fourth element of infrastructure was taken care of. Probably the biggest one is traffic and transportation. Again, as Mike said, this project is primarily going to be using Ocoee, a relatively brand new 4-lane road, and the 429. In addition to that, by adding the commercial that we have in there, we have two types of traffic. You have traffic that's generating, typically houses. You got traffic that's done or taken care of by attractions. Now, obviously, somebody living east of here or nearby are going to utilize the commercial elements of this project. We plan to have a hotel so someone can stop there, but we also have to have a grocery store. We plan to have a convenience store with a gas station. So people needing to get gas before they're going to work in the morning, they'll be there. We also hope to have a bank. We're talking about an urgent care. So we're looking at a lot of various uses in order to be able to attract people. But those are the same people that are already on the road driving further away to get to another grocery store or another bank or another urgent care. So we think that's becoming a very important element of what we've done. Now, more importantly, and I'll, in the presentation in a few moments, what you'll see is when you do a transportation study, and the firm that we use has been around many, many years, and they do a very good job, we don't rely on old data. There's a current model that Orange County uses, which we used in our study. In addition to that, we looked at and we did some of our own traffic counts. So we rely on counts that the county provides you. We provided our own counts. And what we determined is our major roadways are operating about at 50 or 60% of capacity when there. As an example, you'll see in the slide that Ocoee is about 58% of what the capacity is after we build our project. 429, absolutely no problem at all with that capacity. North Lakewood Avenue, as Michael said, we had those two deficiencies. But I want to point out one very important issue. The roundabout we're building is really taking care of an eastbound traffic coming from the west towards us. It's not because of our project. That traffic in the background, we've already determined, is failing that intersection. This roundabout will improve an existing condition to a position where it's going to go from an operating service level of F up to a B or maybe even an A. So I hope I've at least achieved a little bit that as a developer, we have looked at the infrastructure, we have looked at the transportation elements, and feel that, as you'll see from the presentation here, that we do meet many of all the goals that were achieved here many years ago, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And we believe this project, when you see it, albeit one large project, is a unified project. So you're getting the benefit of having one project coming in and transforming that area. So let me go through quickly, because I think Michael really did identify most. Again, my name is Richard Wolfarth, and the project, as Mike pointed out, is a forested pine area. It's at 429. Very important element. We are due west of the Forest Lake Golf Club. We think that's very important because, frankly, for our apartments, 4 of our buildings out of the 7 are facing the golf course. We think that is taking advantage of just a naturally beautiful area, and we think that the residents that will live there will enjoy that. We are in a high-growth corridor along Ocoee. It was pointed out before, the number of apartments or number of residential units going on are tremendous with as far as all the various projects. Now, just for the record, because some of the new commissioners here, I developed McCormick Reserve. I developed Oak Trail, and I also did a couple years ago. I think when I first met Commissioner Wilson, I developed the Spring Lake project, and I've been looking back at them now. Spring Lake being completely built, McCormick nearly built out, and Oak Trail really going quickly out there. I'm proud of the quality and the projects that I'm responsible for in the city, and hopefully this will be another one. We also look at alternative housings. Now, what you're looking at out there is today there's an awful lot of single family. Unfortunately, what's been happening, price of land going up. Price of building going up even faster. Infrastructure going up. The one thing not going up is the ability of people to buy housing. The townhouses we looked at as being an alternative housing to try to get the price point down in the city of Ocoee to bring another band of people that can afford to come here. Because, candidly, if you drive by all these various projects along Claricone, Ocoee, the one thing you'll notice is the prices almost on every 4 or 5 or 6 months, you see a sign out there with the price with a little bit higher price. That's because, again, the price of everything in that business is just going up on a very, very regular basis. And also, as I mentioned before, this will provide much-needed commercial uses in a very strategic location to service all the houses that are being built out there. As an aerial view, what I was trying to point out here is obviously here's our project here, there's the golf course, and you start to see all the different developments that are being built out there, plus all the developments that are being built out here to the west. We believe that the townhouse development here will provide a new housing type that doesn't exist in the area. So again, Mike pointed out, we made up 3 parcels, and you can start seeing where this all comes together, and it's 73.17 acres. There's the golf course. And just, again, I know you all have been out there. As Mike said, it's a planted pine forest. It's been that way for many, many years. And just for the record, when we're done, unfortunately, planted pine forests are planted for one reason, to be harvested. And most of those trees will not be there. I did try to save trees on McCormick. And unfortunately, now we have spent a tremendous amount of money taking some dead trees that have been dying on a regular basis. These type of pines are very susceptible. You get even close to them, they will not live. So even if you wanted to try to save them, it's just impossible. Again, property appraiser information. Mike pointed out we're going from land use of residential into both the land use and zoning that will permit this kind of development. These are just the setbacks. As you'll see, the front setback for our towns are 20, our rears are 15, side corners are 10, cannot exceed 2 stories, and we have a impervious ratio no more than 60%. And you'll see from the shots and the perspectives we've done, it is a fairly open-looking project. So now we start looking at our gross densities. We have 512 units and 41 acres of residential, 12.34, and the population we think will be approximately 1588. That is based on the level of service numbers from the city, and we use that in order to generate all the other water needs, sewer needs, solid waste. Now the parking, that we're putting 2 parking spaces per townhouse. On the apartments would be 632, and working with the city, going through their program, we reduced that to the 1.7. We're very comfortable at 1.7. We would not be comfortable at 1.5, and I think we all would have to agree the worst thing in any apartment project or any single family or townhouse is not enough parking. So the 1.7 is a good ratio. It will provide adequate parking, and it's getting very close to the city's criteria that they were trying to establish. Again, we have 512 units with 316 apartments, 196 townhomes. On the commercial, service station, grocery stores, hotels, banks, medical, full service, restaurants, fast food, restaurants, and also retail areas. We do have a commitment, actually we have 2 commitments for a service station. We're only allowed by our agreement to have 1. Bob Bernard here is with the commercial developer. He's assured me that within the next 2 weeks, 1 will be picked, and we'll be able to show you by the time we come back an actual elevation of what this will look like. Mike has made it very clear to us, I've made it clear to Bob, that this is not going to be a plain Jane service station. It will be dressed up, it'll have a nice canopy to it, it'll have a nice finishing on both the building and on the canopies. One of them is looking at a car wash, one of them is not looking at a car wash, so it really depends which way we go. But it will provide access to the residents, not only in our development, but the one thing we did is we continued 2nd Avenue now from the east. So they'll be able to go into all these areas without going out to the main roadway. This is just, again, an overall view. We're looking from the south. We're sort of standing on the south side of the property. A couple of key issues here is, again, you see the roundabout being put in. This is Fuller's Cross. This would be the new realignment of North Lakewood. Going back to traffic again, Commissioner Oliver, what this is going to do, if you go out there today, as soon as you turn, you have to make that hard right and that hard left. This is going to dramatically improve the traffic flow coming through here into the roundabout, and if you want to go south or if you want to go west. So we think that is a major improvement. We're doing that. We're not looking for impact fee credits, and to do that, that is at our expense. As was pointed out a moment ago, we are putting our lift station as far south as we can so we can make it, lift stations are typically gravity. So we're trying to get it as deep as we can to service as much as the area and the surrounding area so they can connect to us by gravity. Again, we're not looking for any impact fees or any credits to do that. The water main, right now, is a 12-inch, very large water main here. We're just going to extend it all the way up to our property to the north. The force main will come from that pump station down to here. And all this will, again, be underground utilities as noted. And again, I hope you can see that, even with the townhouses, you start to see an awful lot of green. Along the southern boundary, along the eastern boundary, is a 25-foot landscape buffer. So to our neighbors to the south and our neighbors to the east, we are going to be buffering the project. Again, this is just another view. Important part here is this is the city park. City park is going to have a nice eternal lake, a walkway around it. We're planning to put in small little gazebo-like areas around it with picnic tables, with barbecues and a bunch of seating. The hope is that for the residents in this general area, if they have a birthday party or something, there may be 4 or 5 of these pavilions in the city park that will be provided. We're also providing ample parking here and on 2nd Avenue for the people to be able to get in there and use it. So we hope that this will be a major addition not only to our project, but to the area so that birthday parties and other type of events can be held at this location. Again, now looking up, the important feature here is in addition to all of North Lakewood, as is Ocoee, will have a bike path. It'll be exactly what you see out there today on Ocoee. We're going to extend that on both sides coming down here to this roundabout. But in addition to that, we're providing a linear park between our lake and the road. And there will be an 8-foot or 10-foot pathway. We're still working on the actual details here. We do plan to put benches as you walk. So this little linear park is separating the road from the lake from our units. So we think it'll have a real nice look as you drive down the road, so we're not pulling those units all the way to the front. This is looking internally. We have internally we will have a recreational area. It will have a playground and other features, and this will be for the residents of the townhouse development. But as you can't quite see here, is right over here is where the city park is. So they'll be able to have their own recreational area within the project and on the outside. The other thing that I typically have done in all my projects, and I'll do here, is every place we can squeeze a little bit of extra parking for the townhouses. A little parallel parking next to a building, a perpendicular or angle parking. We're working on that with the final site plan so we can add additional parking beyond the 2 parking spaces per unit and what is now a all 2-car garage project. We're not proposing any 1-car garages. These are all 2-car garages. Again, now we're looking, getting on the north side. I think Peter showed this before. This was and I'll be honest with you, this was a bit of a battle between Peter and I. We went through 7 or 8 different plans. I don't know if Peter's still here. There he is. We went through 7 or 8 iterations and finally came back with a plan that Peter was comfortable with, that we were comfortable with. So as you come in here, there'll be parking along here, which will be a public system, public area. These are 10-foot wide walkways on both sides, so you leave this community and get down into all the commercial or ride your bike and get on the bike path. Because the other feature about this area that I really like, there are 3 potential connections to the West Orange Trail that you can get here by your bike by being on a walkway or a bike path all the way to the trails. This is the intersection of Ocoee and North Lakewood Avenue. What we're doing here, you can see in the foreground here, is we're providing on these 3 corners, and it's really not, it's changed a little bit, it's getting a little more mature, but this will be a wall system. Michael showed you a moment ago what it looks like. So we will provide from that point north around to here. We'll be hiding to some degree the parking behind and the cars that are back here. And this will provide a sense of entrance. It'll be all 4 corners will have the same basic look. Where there are no buildings, like this building is all the way up towards the road, but where we have buildings, let's say over here, that there's a parking or a gap, we'll provide that same wall feature that Michael showed you a few moments ago. Elevation-wise, we will gladly work with Peter to try to mature these elevations as we go on over the next few weeks and prior to coming back to see you, so where we can add a little bit of additional look to it. So over the next couple of weeks here, we will see if we can come up with an elevation that we're happy with, that the city feels we're getting closer to what they're looking for, and I think we can achieve that. The builders that we work with candidly are very receptive to coming up with different ideas, and they are builders that are already here in the city of Ocoee. Now, the other thing that I think is important to talk about is the benefits. Why this project? I mean, here you are, you're giving us something. We think it's a great project. We think it's going to be a good addition to the city. However, in addition to that, this project will add about $135 million to the tax base at build-out. If you take all of our units times what we think will be assessed value, it's a very significant amount as far as the project. That will generate city taxes alone of $750,000. Now, in addition to that, school board taxes are being generated, county taxes, but just for the city alone, you will see a $750,000. And again, as Mike pointed out a moment ago, we will now provide the potable water service to not only our area, but the North Lakewood Avenue. Firefighting water will be there, which is not there today. Gravity wastewater service serving a large portion of this area. We'll be doing a dramatic improvement to North Lakewood. We'll be constructing a roundabout to improve the existing traffic snarls that are out there and improve them, even including our traffic. And we're going to be connecting the eastern and western neighborhoods to the commercial property. When you start looking at level of service, again, was mentioned before, what we've come up with is that this project does generate a significant amount of water demand, a significant amount of wastewater, and a significant amount of solid waste. Two good parts of that. One, you'll see in a moment, generates a heck of a lot of fees for water and sewer connection charges. And once these connections are all made, these people will be buying water and sewer services from the city at a great expense. As far as impact fees, it generates over $7 million of impact fees. So as far as improvements, maybe to other roads like Clark Road, this project will generate almost $2.3 million. Our school impact fees alone are about almost $2 million. almost $800,000 in recreational fees, $300,000 plus in police, and $418,000 in fire. Now, in addition to that, as you are aware, there are some school issues out here. We will be also paying an additional fee for mitigation on top of the normal fee. I'm not sure exactly what that number will be, but it will be higher than the 1.995. You can add the water, look at the water side, we'll be paying over $1 million in water fees and over $3 million in wastewater for a total of 4.4. The project in impact fees and water and sewer connection charges will generate over $11.5 million to the city. Going back to the traffic study, we did a detailed traffic study, training, planning, and design. A firm that's been here for a long time. It was reviewed by the city traffic engineer. We addressed all of the comments, and they have been, and the permit or the report has been reviewed and approved. That study, because some of the concerns, did identify impacted roads and impacted intersections. If you look at the traffic here, what this is the most current data that's available. As of today, Claricone Ocoee has 39,800 trips. It's, 17,700 trips. It's designed for almost 40,000 trips. That's not quite half. Lakewood Avenue is between 9,400 to 1,600 or 16,000. That's segmented as you start from Claricone and go south. That road was designed for 17,000. That one, again, we're doing some improvements, so we think that's going to improve the capacity of that road to aid in that. West Road, on the other side of the interstate, it's designed for 17, 9,200, or 9,230. And then finally, Fuller's Cross Road is designed for 17, and there's only 6,600. So we look very carefully at what's out there today, what we're doing, and what their capacities are. And these are the capacities that are reported by Orange County that we use in all of our modeling, and based on the type of roadway. The two intersections that had problems, Michael pointed out, one of them is under construction, or shortly will be, and that will be taken care of, and we will be taking care of the roundabout, even though, as I'm saying here, the eastbound lane is below acceptable level, but it will be now raised to an acceptable level. Transportation conclusions, we have an interconnected walkway of 6, 8, and 10 foot in all our communities and all our roadways. Bikeways are located on North Lakewood Avenue to tie in with the ones on Clerico and Ocoee, tying into the West Orange Trail. The walkway in the linear park is going to add to that. We have the 3 connections, and all roadways and intersections will operate after our construction at an acceptable level of service based on county and city criteria. Interchange village overlay, I think Peter went through all that, and the design principles and the goals. And our request tonight is for the transmittal of the large-scale amendment to the city, from the city of Ocoee to DEO in Tallahassee. Thank you, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Just one thing, I'm gonna take, before we get into everything, we take a little break. The talking about the water hookups and sewer hookups, that's tied to the county.
No, city. City
It's
water,
our-
city
it's
sewer.
our service area.
It's gonna be our service?
Yes, sir.
It won't be a county service?
No, sir.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's all goes to the city of Ocoee.
Thank you. All right. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. I apologize, we had, Commissioner Oliver had to leave. But we're gonna take a 5-minute break, real quick, everybody, and then we'll come back and let everybody ask the questions. So,
Sure, please.
great presentation.
Thank you, sir.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a Ocoee service area. It's a Ocoee service area. So that's right, it's a Ocoee service area. CLRM is the next one in the county, yeah, she says. Sounds like we'll probably be in touch very soon. Going on here. Yes.
I pulled it up.
5 minutes. Nellie, where's the TV go? Where'd that go? 5 minutes is up. All right, excuse me, let's get back. Where's the other two commissioners? Well, one, lost, two.
I
Oh,
will
where's
tell
two?
him there. He's correct.
Commissioner Wilson,
His wrong assumption.
let's go. Mr. Firstner. I bet they got wrote up for being tardy in school. All right, we're going to re-adjourn the meeting. Start off with.
Mayor, I would like to point out, and the reason for your assumption of the Orange County, I know you know the utility area. If you go to page 2 on the staff report, under the table of public facilities, I did indicate Orange County. In the paragraph below, I said City of Ocoee service area, and you probably saw the Orange County, but it is City of Ocoee service area.
Is that
in
because it's
its
south
entirety.
of Clear Corner Road?
Yeah, the line's north up
Right,
that way.
Okay,
so.
all right, well, that's good. That's good news. All right, so what we're going to do is now have the public, anybody that want to make comments and ask. All right, Mr. Menacke, don't forget to fill a slip out. Come on up. Come on up.
I like your presentation, but will this handle a 100-year rain event?
Yes, sir. The stormwater will have to meet the City of Ocoee stormwater standard, which is the 100-year storm event.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the public have any comments to the item 9? We'll close the public hearing, come back to the dais, and anybody got any comments, further comments?
Yes. I got a question. Thanks. Understanding the traffic studies that's been conducted, I guess fairly recently, last couple of years or so, part of our challenge is as Commissioner Ferstner and Commissioner Oliver mentioned, there's a lot of traffic that's being generated by all the homes and buildings coming out of the ground. Your project for this particular development is just one project. And so, what my challenge is, I have to look at it as a whole. And taking a holistic approach to this, I'm looking at every project in the north end of Ocoee. And I just don't see, because I travel that road, I live in the north west side of Ocoee, and I don't see where the traffic is accommodating, very accommodating with what we currently have. But yet we're about to add additional 2,000, 2,500 homes or apartments to that. So I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around how is the infrastructure going to support what it is that we're doing.
Let me first start off, Commissioner Brinson, and appreciate that. In the first element is the data analysis that's provided shows that they have to mitigate items. It just so happens with this project, they're not having to widen roads or extend a road or do anything. But they do have to increase capacity and provide capacity for water and sewer and schools. With regards to development, and we put part of the overlay, a requirement, we want density. We want density to make all of the other infrastructure, all of the other amenities, and all of the other non-residential uses work. What you can't do on my side by law, and in some aspects with a project denied, you can't make a project pay or provide new capacity and development on a road that does not have an issue. They're going to pay their fair share in the sense that we've deemed that our impact fees are sufficient enough to not only maintain, but to provide future improvements. Until such time as a project comes along that does make the facility fail.
Right, and I get that part. I really do. But I'm looking at responsible, reasonable growth. I'm looking at, will my commute change from 25 minutes to downtown to 45 minutes or 50 minutes to downtown from where I currently am? And understanding that the developer, may or may not be required to widen roads or improve the infrastructure. But I'm still looking at the amount of time that the residents have to spend on the road because of whether it's widening of the roads, improving of the roads, improving of the traffic controls. As you well know, we had a discussion. I am very much in favor of roundabouts. I think it's one of the most important things that ever came to traffic controls. I don't know if most Americans really know how to use them, but I think they're great. I absolutely do. But right now, I sit at a light and I wait and I wait and I wait. So that's what I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around. I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around Lakewood. When I'm traveling down Lakewood and it's going to be widened or improved or whatever, they're going to do workarounds. They're going to try to get to the 429 any way they can. And if those feeder streets or those side streets are not dealt with properly, they're going to get congested. And then they're going to call me, and then I'm going to call you, and then we're going to go back and forth. And you're like, well, we tried to do this, but it does. And the issue is still going to be there. So I'm trying to figure out how do we address that, and not necessarily requiring the developer to do it, but as a municipality, we've got to take issue with this. Either we fix it now, or we're going to fix it later.
Mike, Commissioner Benson, let me first of all point out, the study was done in October, November of last year. Reviewed and modified all the way up through March of this year. So it's very recent. Secondly, all the background traffic, the county generates, we all use the same model in traffic engineering. All of the approved projects are in that model. So if Arden Park North or Oak Trail or any of these projects have already received approval, that model is updated on a very regular basis. So when we run it and we check to see, okay, what are we going to do now to the system? It's not only what's out there today, what's going to be out there tomorrow that's already been approved, but what we're going to do.
Right.
And that's what the analysis is based on. And what this analysis showed was that all the level of services, which are rated from A to F, are well in the B, C, some of even A ranges on the roads. And on the intersections, with the exception of the two intersections we've talked about, which with the city fixing one, we've agreed now to fix the other, we think that the improvements are going to be quite dramatic on North Lakewood Avenue. Plus the fact that you are right, we're going to generate people from the south. When they find out they can fly up North Lakewood Avenue, go in that roundabout and get up, the traffic light at Claricona Ocoee, I'm also modifying. We're going to change timing. We're going to go ahead and add the last leg, because right now there's only 3 legs on it, because obviously we now have a 4th leg. And we're going to go ahead and go through the timing of this to accommodate all these changes. So again, most of our traffic is going to hit Claricona Ocoee. A lot of it's going to go west and go south and north on the 429. So we're not really, this project as the residential side, really not going to start going in there into the side streets and all the rest. We're primarily using the benefit. That's why the planning tools are put the density there, so you don't have to go through those side streets. And then improving the flow for other people south of us, west of us, east of us, which we think ultimately with these improvements, especially the North Lake realignment, if you can imagine now, instead of making that hard turn and then taking another turn, you can have a nice, but we have to adjust that signal, which is in the plans.
Right, and I do appreciate, my mind needs to be set at ease because I know I'm going to get the call. I'm not, why are you guys doing that? And why don't you just put a traffic light there and be done with it? No, there's more to it than that.
I think you'll find that the roundabout, I'm agreeable with you. I believe roundabouts would properly design, give better flow characteristics than definitely a 4-way stop, which was one option we had, which wasn't a good one for any of us, or a traffic signal. We think the roundabout, especially in that kind of location, is ideal. If once people get used to it, it'll be a nice free-flowing event where people can get up that traffic light. And the other thing another minor one is the people to the east of us now, when they try to leave, they can come out and there's no light. Now they'll be able to come out 2nd Avenue, make a right, and go up to the traffic light. So all those houses over there now, we think we're improving their situation because now they'll have a way to get out of their community too.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Commissioner Wilson?
Should I say, I'll be the one to say that I hate roundabouts. But, and I do know how to use them. Northerners know how to use roundabouts. What's giving me heartburn is we are now at number 6 apartments in Ocoee. This would be, I guess, number 7. Am I correct? And that's a great concern to me, that we don't want to become a city of apartments. So townhouses don't seem to have a problem. It's, and it looks like a very, well-defined project that you have. But the apartments are what does give me heartburn.
Commissioner, I can understand that. We looked at the other uses, and the problem with, we wanted to have a comprehensive plan. Now, the important part about these apartments over many of the others, these are 4-story. Now, I see you smiling a little bit. They're 4-story, they're center corridor, they're upgraded. They will have the elevation is being upgraded, and so the clubhouse and all the rest. But we see the big feature of this type of unit. We're not searching to go out to the 3-story walk-up typical apartment you see. These are primarily 50% of them are 1-bedroom, 40% are 2-bedroom, and only 10% are 3-bedroom. We see this as a supply. You have a new hospital to the north of you now. You have other uses that are all throughout Ocoee, a lot of new investments. You've got the city furniture facility now here, that there's a need for apartments in this general location, but not for families, but these are going to be for young adults. They might work in Maitland, they might work even downtown. Because of the proximity to the 429, we believe that we're not putting these trips on all the roadways. If they want to go to these places of work, they can get there very easily by using the 4-lane highways and the 6-lane 429. So we think that this is a little bit different than the other 6, as probably the other 6 people said to you also. But we do believe that this does provide a very workable rental unit. And to be honest with you, the other thing we're seeing throughout this country, and here in Orange and other parts of the state, is, you know, millennials and younger people today, you just don't see them going out and buying houses on a regular basis. They're starting to, but there's this high demand, and there is a high demand, they want their own personal space. That's why we have 50% one bedrooms. We see these being somewhat limited to the occupants, and the 2 bedrooms might be even a roommate type of situation. But we believe that this type of project with, again, 4 stories, a little more glitz to the front of it, providing the type of look that Peter's described that is actually outlined in your guidelines that we should try to follow. We believe this project probably gets us close to it. He mentioned 3 of 7. 3 of the other 7 that he's saying he's not sure of. Unfortunately, I didn't have the elevations to Peter in time. I'm hoping after he goes through them, after I know he's going to have us make some changes, we'll get up to 4, 5, or 6 of those 7 principles met, which we think is really going a long way to take a project following the guidelines of the city and then trying to follow the way they've suggested we go, and the end result is to come up with a project that we meet those conditions, as many principles as possible, that the city will like, and still provide a very necessary housing element for the people who want to live here in Ocoee. So hopefully it at least got you a little more comfortable, but we're very excited about it. We think when you put all this together as one big project and look at all the things that will be happening out there, we think it'll be a great addition to the city of Ocoee and into that whole northern area.
Well, it's still going to give me heartburn.
I understand,
You know,
ma'am.
I see the apartment complexes in town, and not in our town, but in other areas where they start advertising the first month's free, you know, again, and you start lowering the rents, and I don't want to see those situations happen in our community to where now the rents they're not generating what you had anticipated, and we don't want to see deterioration of apartment complexes.
We understand the builder of these apartments has a long relationship with apartments, been very successful, and I think you'll be very, very comfortable today and in 5 or 10 years with the quality of what will be out there. The units, well, because they're all 1, 2s, mainly 1s and 2s, are a little bit smaller. Because they're a little bit smaller, what developers look at for rents is how many dollars per square feet. Where you start seeing trouble is where you start building these larger 3-bedroom, in some cases even 4-bedroom apartments, which are 1,300, 1,400 square feet. The rent numbers start going down, and we see that happening. 3-story walk-ups have been notorious for that. That's why you'll see not just us, but most rental developers are going away from that type of product. They're going more to the smaller units, the 1 and 2 bedroom units, because the rents seem to be very stable, and they're able to keep the quality of what they're doing there. And we see that this project, being the way we've designed it, will be able to meet that.
I'll be happy to see that.
And I hope you will.
And I just want to add, we call the area a character area, but it's also functioned as a target area, just like in our CRA. This is an area we've targeted for development that we know we can capture the benefit of the 429. It'll allow those millennial users, it'll allow the people that want to jump on the 429 and migrate out for their employment. But it'll also capture those residents when we have in-migration of employment or work from home, that they have a place. But we can also consider it sort of a target area. We're targeting density like this. We're not targeting high density and big developments like this in our downtown core, but along the 429, in that character area, the Plant Street, in the business area, it's appropriate. So I just want to kind of say, we call it a character area, but it's almost like a target area as well.
All right, Commissioner Forstner.
I really like the plan. I think it fits in very well with our development plans for the city, and I think it'll make a good addition. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind comments.
I will say that I admit with you, and I told you I wasn't particularly fond of apartments, but when I found about the townhouses, I feel a little better about it. But the process on the apartments, I have checked on 3 of them in town that are new as we built, and every one of them is raised the rent. They're all raising the rent, which is amazing to me because they were kind of high to start with. But 1 bedroom was $1,200 to $1,300, and they're going up to $1,500, and then the other ones they were telling me are going up higher than that. So it's kind of amazing to me that. But a lot of people don't don't want to buy houses, maybe can't get finance for them right now, and the young people, but I'm not real big on apartments because I almost got hung one time because of apartments, but it's something to look at. The townhomes I like better. I do like the way the road system's changed in that area there. And I will say the roundabouts, I was up in Wisconsin where a fire truck deal, and we were out in the country, and I'm telling you, there's nobody out there, and every stop sign is a roundabout, no stop signs. Everything's a roundabout, which is amazing to me, and I think it's great, because you don't have to stop at the red light. I get complaints a lot, which is some of the stuff that's not in ours on red lights. I get a lot of emails from people about the red lights, about the time sequences. If you have that roundabout, you're not gonna be at that time sequence, you're gonna be moving. So you go to Windermere and watch that traffic on that intersection down by City Hall. And I mean, it's a constant flow, and people are moving. So that's some of the good things. But it was a good presentation. I like the development there. You know, we'll see. I don't know. We got one set of apartments on the other side of the road there, but that would probably be the last of them. But townhomes I really do like, so.
Yeah, I agree with the townhomes.
Yeah. All right, so any more comments? What we need is a motion, right? We're going to have two. Well, first is the ordinance for large-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
Just the one motion to transmit. We'll come back upon the adoption and do the second reading.
You don't want to do the rezoning?
It's just the first reading of the ordinance only. We don't have a.
All right, so you don't want to do, all right, we'll do, all right, I need a motion for a first reading of ordinance for the large-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion
Is that
made.
transmit? That's for
That's
transmit.
what he said.
Yeah, just want to make sure we'll.
Commissioner Forster made the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Prince. Any more comments? No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries four and Commissioner Oliver absent. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will ask you, is there a time frame on this thing starting?
We have to transmit from the date that the State Department of Economic Opportunity receives our transmittal. They have 30 days to receive the comments from all the other state agencies, like the Fish and Game, Department of Transportation, and the surrounding jurisdictions, to make comments back to us. Okay. They'll either make objection, a recommendation, or a condition. If we receive an objection, we've got to work with the applicant on answering that objection. We bring that back through the process, planning and zoning and city commission for transmittal again.
All right.
If we don't receive an objection, we'll bring it back for an adoption. Okay. At that time, you'll have another bite of the apple and you'll get a development agreement with it.
All right. All right, item number 10, first reading of ordinance for CLRM Plan Unit Development PUD Annexation, Large-Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment and Rezoning to Plan Unit Development, and that's City Planner Rubin.
Yes, this is, in my 13 years, we've had, this is going to be the third large-scale amendment in the last six months. We haven't had any, now we're having. This is very similar to the last project, but first we have to annex the property in as well. So there's an extra step.
Would you like me to read the titles?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'll start with the annexation ordinance. I do want to mention that there is a typographical error in the title as it's printed. However, I will read it in the correct way. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately plus or minus 193.22 acres located on the south side of West McCormick Road and west of North Apopka Vineland Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owners, finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan and the Ocoee City Code, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. The second ordinance on first reading this evening is the Comp Plan Amendment Ordinance. The title reads as follows. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from Orange County Rural Settlement 1 to 5 to City of Ocoee Low Density Residential for certain real property containing approximately 193.22 acres located on the south side of West McCormick Road and on the west side of North Apopka Vineland Road, providing for transmittal, authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the third ordinance in this item number 10 is the rezoning ordinance. The title reads as follows: An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 to Ocoee PUD, Plan Unit Development, on certain real property containing approximately plus or minus 193.22 acres located on the south side of West McCormick Road and west of North Apopka Vineland Road pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
So the subject property is located on the very northeast section of Ocoee and Orange County. It has road frontage along McCormick Road. It has frontage along Apopka Vineland. However, the West Orange Trail is between the property and Apopka Vineland. And then on the south, it fronts along the West Orange Trail. To the west, we have Trout Lake, and we have some other unincorporated land areas. The only physical property that abuts a road is McCormick Road. There is a little portion that abuts Trout Lake Road here, but Trout Lake Road it's a county easement or road. It's not to county standard. It's substandard in size, and it's not available to have access through this. You cannot use Trout Lake Road. The project, the overall land of the property is 212.3 acres. However, the land area seeking annexation and the rezoning the planned development is shorter than that. It's 193.22 acres. The reason for that was under the annexing all of the property area, it created an enclave, and Orange County had an objection to an enclave, which Commissioner Brinson would be a pocket of Orange County surrounded by the city on all sides. So the applicant pared back the amount of land being annexed, and it leaves out this portion of land and creates where now you have contiguous property in unincorporated Orange County. The proposal is to annex into the city and then change the land use. The land use is presently Orange County Rural Settlement 1 unit per 5 acres. The land was not traditionally in our joint planning area agreement, so we did not have an agreed upon future land use, and that land use change is changing it from rural 1 to 5 to low density residential. It's yellow, you can see it on the TVs. All of that to afford the opportunity to do a plan unit development, which includes a clustering of units, smaller lots than traditional code. It would create the opportunity for 381 single-family units with a mixture of lot sizes in the 45, 50, 55-foot wide lot range. It's what's called as sort of a conservation urban cluster, environmental cluster. You cluster the lots, you leave a lot of open space. Real quickly, the project would have 2 access points along West McCormick Road. It does not have any access points on Apopka Island. If you've been on Apopka Island, there is significant terrain and elevation changes. You have the West Orange Trail. Then on the south, there's no opportunity to connect to Claricona. There's no property owning fronting Claricona-Ocoee Road. There's to keep with the character of the intent of the rural settlement and the agricultural and equestrian feel of the community, there are significant buffers in place which will hide the subdivision, provide that view that is there will remain. The plan unit development, just as the project before, when we adopt the zoning ordinance, we also adopt this plan which locks in the number of units, locks in the amount of open space. All of that is the actual zoning. When they go to the next step of preliminary and final subdivision plan, if by any chance they have to change due to conditions and they want to get more lots, or they want to change the makeup of what's important, of what we approve with the subdivision, it's got to come back through the process. So if they diminish the buffers, if they have changes like that, it'll come back through the process. This is a large-scale submittal, so the same thing, we're transmitting, because it's over 10 acres, to the state. They have a level of service analysis, data analysis. This is in the Orange County water and sewer service area. The city of Ocoee would provide reclaimed water to this site, but not water and sewer. They also have to mitigate schools. We're seeking today to transmit the project, and then we're going to be seeking the approval for the annexation, the land use amendment, and the zoning change. And with that, there's a builder on board as part of this application. The density will be less than 4 units an acre. It's actually between 1.8 and 1.9 dwelling units an acre. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
What I'm gonna do is open the public hearing and let the builder come up. We're represented.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Kathy Hadaway with Polis and Bennett, 2602 East Livingston Street, Orlando, representing the applicant. I know the hour is late, and Mr. Rumor's given a very comprehensive presentation. I'd be happy to make our presentation, or we'll just stand for questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's do that. All right. Anybody up on the dais? Make any comments? Ask any questions? I will say I've been looking forward to this piece of property for a long time, coming into the city. Kind of squares us off. All right, anybody else? So if anybody in the public have any comments on this, come on up to the podium. Have that. Thank you, sir. Just give us your name.
Bill Williams. So I'm a resident of unincorporated Orange County. I live in the Oak Hill subdivision, which is at the end of Damon Road, north of this planned development. So I'd like to congratulate Planner Rummer. This is the amount of work you guys are going through right now is amazing. It is quite concerning, and the amount of development in a relatively small land area that's going on right now. There's a lot of concerns. If we put all this together, what is it going to do to our community? And not just the Oak Hill subdivision, but the North Ocoee. Traffic, and I think the presentations have done a great job of putting together the technical information on traffic studies. As a resident of the area since 1997, and I've traveled to and from Ocoee every day, so I feel like I'm a resident of Ocoee, as I work right up the street since 1996. The traffic has changed a lot over the years, especially in the last couple of years. Traveling Ocoee-Apopka during hours can be pretty rough. And even traveling the 429 during certain hours, traffic can get pretty bad. So I would challenge you you gentlemen and ladies, as a commission to put all this together and look at it. The schools obviously are going to be a challenge. The one school that that services this area, Hackney Prairie, is already over capacity. So currently there is a site just north of this, Clarcona. Used to be Clarcona Elementary. It's no longer a school. It's being used as a training center now. That potentially could be open. I don't think any of us know what the school district plans on doing. So some real challenges. I would challenge to work with the county to look at with the plans of not just CLRM, but Arden Park. We're going, Ocoee, Clark Road is going to be extended to McCormick. It certainly would be a shame to develop Clark Road, a very nice road, and have it connect to such a substandard road in Trout Lake. And if you haven't had the opportunity to go out and travel that road, I would encourage you to do so. It's pretty embarrassing that we have some homes on that road. It's pretty bad. And the other thing, looking at Trout Lake Road as a potential entrance exit for the CLRM would allow that to dump back on the Clark Road, which is a controlled intersection, versus coming back onto McCormick, where you've got a stoplight at, not a stoplight, but a stop sign at Claricona, as well as at Apopka Island. So, and getting in and out of those based on personal experience can be challenging at times because of the traffic. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Nobody else?
Question now, if you don't mind.
Everybody else?
Mr. Rumor, you mentioned Trout Lake Road. Is that gonna be, I thought you said that was not a road that we would be, that would be any commuting on.
Correct.
I mean, I think I've been up on Trout Lake Road, but,
Yeah, Trout Lake Road services like maybe five lots that have, along Trout Lake. And it is substandard in size,
okay.
and it is substandard in construction. And it's not what's considered a road proved to a standard to allow further subdevelopment based on that as your access point.
So that would not be an access point?
It will not be an access point. In order to use that as an access point, the county or somebody would have to, through eminent domain or purchase 30 feet of the front yards of some of these homes, and some of those lots are not that deep. Also, physically, the physical elements of the properties, you have this pinch point with the lake and the 100-year and the wetlands. That line is pretty thick. It's not, but there's not really much room to facilitate a 2-lane road under a rural standard where you don't have curb and gutter with this distance, or under a standard and connect it to this point on Trout Lake, which is not a standard, it's a substandard county access point. So it's not proposed, and it's not intended, and it's not right for that, using it as an access point.
So the access points would be over on McCormick or on?
Yes, it'll be the 2 access points on McCormick
Both
Road.
on McCormick,
Both on
okay.
McCormick.
Not, there's going to be a buffer between Popka Island and
Yes,
the property, so.
you have buffer area along the
So the
Popka
traffic
Island.
would be coming out on Claricona, possibly come down New Clark Road.
Yes,
or-
this way, yes. It's either gonna go to Popka Island, Clark Road, or to the Ocoee Popka to the 429.
All right.
How many units?
381, which is 1.8 to 1.9 dwelling units an acre, which is still a rural type of a development. It's not what it could be at 4 dwelling units an acre.
How did that not get into JPA? Isn't the JPA what surrounds us? And, I mean, that's right there behind one of our neighborhoods, multiple ones. I mean, I don't understand how it ever got in there.
The reason at the time, back in 1994, was the rural settlement aspect.
So that's because.
When we did our JPA.
Because of the rural settlement aspect, that's why it's not in the JPA.
Yes. We presently do not have a joint planning area agreement with the county. So the joint planning area aspect that we normally hear about under the annexations doesn't come into play with this project, does it?
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No. Need a motion? We gonna do the motion for the, send it.
The transmit, yes.
Transmittal motion. The large-scale comprehensive plan.
I'll make the motion to transmit.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner First. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries. Commissioner Oliver absent. All right. All right, we're moving on to number 11, item number 11, first reading of ordinance for Fountains West Commons Plan Unit Development, small scale comprehensive plan amendment.
I'll
You
read,
got the whole show tonight.
Yeah, there's no presentation with this, just,
and I'll read the title.
yeah, just,
An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted on September 18th, 1991 by ordinance number 91-28 as amended, amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from low-density residential to light industrial to commercial. Is that correct, Mike? We're changing it from low-density residential and light industrial to commercial for certain real property containing approximately 5.35 acres located on the north side of Fountains West Boulevard, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this is the first reading. We'll not have public comments. It'll be brought back on May the 7th for the second reading. All right. Moving on to the regular agenda, Silver Star Road Complete Street Study for adoption of the study and selection of the enhanced grid. That will be CRA Administrator Corliss.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. For over a year, the City of Ocoee has been working very closely with MetroPlan and looking at alternatives and ways to improve Silver Star Road from East Crown Point Road to just east of Bluford Avenue. Tonight, I have Nick Lepp. He is the Director of Transportation Planning with MetroPlan. He's been making a brief presentation, bringing you up to date of what we've been doing with the study. And I will say that he will be asking for action of the board at the end of his presentation.
Yes.
So, Nick.
Thank you. Again, Nick Leff from MetroPlan Orlando. I will go through the presentation pretty quickly since you guys have had a long evening, and that way I can answer any questions and go back. The project purpose was really to improve traffic operations and safety and enhance the community within Silver Star Road. If you remember, historically, it's always been on our books to be widened to 4 lanes, but that would disrupt and wouldn't fit with the character of the Ocoee Downtown Master Plan. So we approached the city about doing a complete street corridor study to help address some of the transportation that wasn't going to be able to go through based on some future developments. With that, we looked at a couple options. We looked at how do we align Silver Star or smooth out that curve maybe to the west of Ocoee-Apopka. We also looked about smoothing out that curve on the east side of Ocoee-Apopka and then also trying to find something in the middle. As you can see from some of those purple properties that I've highlighted, those would be the right-of-way or the property impacts with those alternatives. So with that, we also came up with an enhanced grid option utilizing the roadway configuration that's out there and trying to make it as efficient as possible without impacting land or property development. Evaluating those based on the principles, we found that it was actually the best option and the cheapest option because it used the least amount of right-of-way to complete the project. Here's an overall concept as we're looking forward. I know we've talked around about a couple times during this evening. We do have a proposed one right now, but this is also a state road, so DOT will be evaluating each intersection along Silver Star as they go forward with the design. That's part of their requirements. So we are proposing one, but we'll see how that shapes up during the evaluation. Here I have a quick simulation. So what we did is we looked at the future traffic. I know it might be difficult to see, but all these little moving pieces are actually cars that are forecasted in 2040 if you did nothing. You might see this long line of traffic along Silver Star and also down here on Franklin Street that looks very familiar today is just going to get worse. With the enhanced grid, You can see the traffic flows a little bit better based on some restricted movements here, not being able to take a left-hand turn, and then also at this location. That way you're facilitating more traffic going using bonus if you're going straight through, and then the traffic that's trying to come into downtown Ocoee can go straight through on Franklin Street. And it starts balancing out the traffic at those intersections instead of confining them to just one road. We had a meeting on March 14th, great attendance, about more than 50 people showed up, and we had a lot of positive responses to the project. Next steps, we're going to be completing the study in June. It will be going to the Metro Plan Orlando board in May. We're going to document stormwater, look at finalizing the project segmentation, and then program those future projects. It's already on our project priority list. Now we just have to identify the 3 segments and all of the improvements from the study. And here's a quick overview of the segments that we'll be looking at. 2 of them will be kind of DOT's segments. First one, segment 1, which is the east side of Silver Star, can probably go forward to design since it has no right-of-way impacts. Segment 2, which would be more of the city's responsibility, can go forward with design with minimal right-of-way impacts. But then segment 3, with the oil tanks and also with the right-of-way needed with the trail coming through, could require a PD&E phase. That one may take a little bit longer to go forward with. So tonight we're seeking the City Commission to adopt the findings of the Silver Star Road Complete Street Study and select the enhanced grid as the preferred alternative.
We'd also like to say that staff concurs with the recommendations contained within the finding and can answer any questions.
All right. Any commissioners have any comments?
I'm excited.
Anybody else? Everybody else? Anybody else excited?
No, it's exciting.
Well, it is. It's just give us the bad news about how long that's going to be.
A lot faster than 4-laning it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're hoping we can start getting design at least programmed in the next couple of years.
Been a long time coming, I know that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I know I said I didn't like roundabouts, but
Yeah. That would be a good place.
I don't see any I honestly, I hate them, I know, I don't like them, but something's gotta be done out there.
Yes. And that location actually helps facilitate the development that could happen on the south side of the corridor.
All right. Anybody else? Any more comments? You need a yes vote from all of us or a no vote?
We do need a vote.
All right, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion for a yes vote.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson for Silver Star Extension, what is that, number 2?
We're-
Enhanced grid alternative.
We're actually asking to adopt the findings of the Silver Star Road Complete Street Study and to select the enhanced grid alternative.
That's what she said.
That's exactly what I said.
Is that what you seconded?
I did, I did.
Commissioner Brinson?
I second it.
He seconded.
A second.
All right. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. That carries with all 4 votes here and Mr. Oliver absent. All right. Let's see. Man, we need to find something else to talk about.
No, we don't.
Staff actions.
Nothing further, Mayor.
All right, comments from commissioners. Commissioner First. None. Commissioner Wilson.
I do. Just want to apologize to the residents in Silver Glen neighborhood. The park, I know on the weekend there was a problem. It was locked, and I've been assured that the park, that will not be happening again. So we'll be able to use that park. Parks and Recreation have informed me that they just had a little hiccup, and that will be straightened out. There's one thing, I don't want to belabor this meeting any further, but I'm going to. We talked about, probably a few months ago, about the neighborhood grants, and the money was in the budget, and I know we're gonna talk about it, come up with some other ideas. I don't know if that's something we should put on the agenda for, I'm getting these big eyes, like, oh no. Okay, so we should I'd like to put on the agenda, because I think we need to discuss this. The money's in the budget. I firmly believe the neighborhood grants are very important, and I realize that some have difference of opinions, that the same neighborhoods get them, but the benefit to the community is when it enhances our community and homes sell in those areas, the property values go up, and it's a win-win situation. And it's also a win-win situation for our neighbors who live in that neighborhood, because they see the beautification projects that happen, and I think we as a city should support them. I don't remember, I honestly don't recall what other commissioners said at the time when we brought this up before, but I think it does need to be brought up again and discussed. But I will tell you, I find the value of it is very important, and it's very near and dear to my heart. So, with
All
that.
right. You through? Commissioner first? No. All right, I got a couple of things, but I'll make a comment on that. I don't really have a problem with the neighborhood grants. I have a problem with the other part. The neighborhood grants is usually to the same people, but if they go out and do the work, that's no problem. But we also said we discuss it at budget time and figure it out at budget process, which is coming up in another couple of months.
But we still have that money in the budget.
Well, that money won't go nowhere. We don't just because it's in there don't mean we have to spend it.
Well, no, I realize that.
So,
And I realize that, but I don't want to, I honestly wanted to see us do something about it, because the last time we
Yep.
kind of just tabled it, and that was last, so to say,
Well-
effective October, and I don't want to see it tabled again. You know I have a lot of neighborhoods. I'm in should I say, an older neighborhood community. My neighborhood's, mine,
Well, how
compared
do-
to what tonight is,
but
I
how
have
do
no
you-
more land.
But I'll ask you a question. How do we do that for a place like Brentwood, who has no neighborhood homeowner association? How do we do that where I live, we have no neighborhood association? You're penalizing other people in town by doing that. I know, and I love people in neighborhoods, these, like you got the Hammonds, but the other neighborhoods does not have homeowner associations who put in for that.
Well, I
So are
think,
you gonna make another grant program for people that doesn't have homeowner associations?
well, what happened with Brentwood, I think that Brentwood tried to gather
Well-
together to fix that sign
Yeah.
out front. And if neighbors would gather together to do a project, that's still acceptable, so.
I'm not just talking about Brentwood, there's a
Oh, I know.
bunch, I'm talking about Lady Avenue, I'm talking about Doreen, I'm talking about all the areas that are in the areas that doesn't have homeowner associations. That's why we need to discuss it at a meeting where.
Well,
And which,
Okay.
the only one, the one that I had the problem is the one we give the money out to people that didn't live in Ocoee. The people that came here on that grant program.
Oh, no, that was a different
I
one.
know, but that's what I'm talking
That
about.
one I
That's
had
the one
no
I didn't
problem
like, because we bring them in here and our committee was giving it away to towns from other places that getting the money that don't live in the city.
Oh, I had no problem with that. In fact, you
Okay.
know, what we've done now is they have to, if anyone is going to ask us for funds, they have to,
All right,
30
well-
days in advance. I'm talking about the neighborhood grant. There's nothing that's stopping neighbors from getting together to beautify a section of their
By the
community.
time we get that started, it'll be budget time.
I realize that, but I don't want it to get tabled again, so I'm gonna keep
No, we
bringing
won't
it up.
table it again. We'll bring it up and do it at the budget. I
Because-
don't have a problem with that. I'd back that one.
I just
think we need to look at it, how we, the reason we suggested about someday having to disperse funds like Commissioner Oliver wanted to do, and the rest of us, we talked about putting that funds in the commissioners, and they can put that to the areas in their district where they want it to go. You could put that money out of your part into those different homeowner associations and stuff.
And I agree with that. I have no problem. I
So
just
that's
think-
what I was talking about.
I just see that $12,000 and there's neighborhoods that want to do something,
Well-
and we kept tabling it, and I don't want to see it continue to be tabled, and I don't want to see it go away. And if it means that we put it in individual, we change the fund and we put it individual, each district can do what they want with the funds, that can happen, but, I'm just very concerned that this will
Well,
slide away, because it can, and I don't want to see it.
I'm not concerned that the 12,000 is gonna go somewhere. It's not,
We
my mama said it ain't burning a hole in your pocket, is it?
Well, we
So,
probably have something
you
else
know,
to use it for,
I
but,
mean, I think we can work on that. Like I said, at the budget process, I have no problem backing that for doing that to the homeowners. But I would love to see us figure out a way we can do it for everybody. If we're gonna dev it out, let's dev it out. There's some areas in town that people don't have a homeowner association do need some revitalization, some money. Or even some of that money in that 12,000, we could put it as where the businesses downtown, who's trying to revive those old businesses down there, could put in for a grant to put in for, some of the redoing of the front of their businesses or something like that.
Well, and that's
So-
where, see, I guess I prefer to look at neighborhoods, because that's, but-
Everybody has their own pick, so.
I'm sure I do, I know that, but guess I want to hold you to
Right.
that, because I want that to
No,
stay in the budget.
Like I said, Rob, I hope we'll have it at the budget process, just that one, not the one we give out money for everybody, we have a problem because Winter Garden seems to give no money to anybody, and then they all come here and want us to do it.
Well, I don't think Windermere does either.
No.
And I don't think you go down to Orange County and get any money either.
No.
And so, I mean, I think when we said the 30 days, that was kind of just to move us to the next step of what we're going to
Yeah.
do with that. That's
All right.
two different budgets, two
Well,
different grant items.
But, so I think we can work on that. I don't have a problem with that, so I'd love to see us do the other part too, but, all right. Did I ask you already? Yes. Commissioner Brennan?
No, one thing I had is really, I guess Duke Energy or something was cutting down some trees over on Ocoee Apopka Road, and they left on the side of the road for the last week or so. So I did have to reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? They said, oh, it's one of our contractors. We had to put some lines up. So if you're getting calls or emails, that's what that's all about.
Steve, can you call the county?
Yeah. So, thank you.
All right. On the gas thing we have presented tonight, can we just get a consensus to have Rob look into that, how we go ahead and look at doing that? It's something, I think you said it too, that downtown's gonna need it when we put in those new buildings for new business, even City Hall.
Yeah, the businesses are gonna need it.
So we need to figure out how to, so everybody's consensus of doing it. Do we need to make a motion for it, or we just need to?
I haven't seen the paperwork. I don't know if we have
I
a
know.
fixed price on it or not, but it's not going to happen within the next 2 weeks. Let me
Oh,
look
no,
at
no.
it and figure it out.
I just
And
want to
if
make
we-
sure you go ahead and start
Yeah, if we need
researching.
something official, we can bring it back at the next
Okay.
meeting or something.
Yeah, we want to start looking at it before we go too far and not get it.
We still have to figure out the funding too, and you're probably
Yeah.
going to have to authorize that, so
Yeah.
we'll have to come back.
We'll take that 12,000.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Tony, I was just gonna say, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on now, you know, yeah.
Barring. The other one is Fuller's Crossroads, Steve, somebody. Who is taking care of Fuller's Crossroads? I gotta keep reminding somebody about that thing, and nobody comes back and makes comments back to what's going on.
Two items. I'll let Dana talk about the Mattamy side of it while I pull up my information on the improvements in having Mattamy construct improvements at Fuller's Cross and Ocoee Apopka.
Yep, we had worked with Mattamy Homes to construct improvements. We had worked on a discussion item, and as it came time to do the project, they raised some issues with competitive bidding and other type of issues that we've been looking at ever since. So Steve and Mike and I talked about a week ago about some other options we might approach for getting that done. We already have the agreement with the county, and we have the proposed amount that VHB would do the project. So I'll turn it over to Steve for an update on that one.
Looking at two options at this point, and we have a meeting with Assistant City Manager Craig Shadricks every Wednesday to go over projects, and I'm going to bounce it off the team. There's a couple options of using a construction manager at risk method where we can bring a contractor on now, even if we have to advertise and move forward. And I'm also trying to find an Orange County contract if we can go. It's more of a maintenance type contract. I'm looking to see if it'd be cost feasible and if we can use it for this type of construction. I haven't been successful yet, but I'm trying to find something we can piggyback off on in order to avoid the delay of a long drawn-out bid process.
So, in layman terms, when might that happen?
Well, the good part is
I
we'll have
don't have a good date.
We'll have the plans in our hand next week to review the engineered plans. So we have the shovel-ready project, basically, the plans in hand, and make any final tweaks to how it affects our properties to the north on both sides, so we know what we have left for our properties. So we'll have the plans in hand for that.
Which will also, once we get those, if we decide to move through the construction manager at risk method, that's the time to do it.
So when do you think that might be?
I need to talk with the assistant city manager tomorrow before we make any commitment. If it's a piggyback issue, we could get someone on board in a month. If it's a construction manager at risk.
I know Commissioner Brinson knows, the traffic's not getting any better on that corner.
No, it
We
isn't.
promised people, we got our nice signs sitting up there and all that, so we gotta figure out some way to.
Yeah, we're still on track with the permitting through St. John's with the plans. We're still on track we have that process to finish up we'll have,
All right.
yes.
Well, would you let me know?
Oh, yes. As soon as we're working diligently to figure out a way to move this forward as quickly as possible in construction, because
All right.
the way we had planned isn't happening.
All right, two more things. I know everybody's wanting to go home. I'm sorry, I didn't make it late tonight. That was somebody else. That was Mike. The palm trees. Somebody ever get the people out here and look at these palm trees because they're turning brown.
They'll be doing the subcontractor, and they're still all under warranty because we have not accepted the job in its final condition, and we'll still get a whole year after it, which we're looking at the end of the month to have final acceptance on the project. But they're doing a fertilizer nutrient treatment, and hopefully that'll bring it back. And we should see next week the matting go down, the rubberized mulch that's going to be a permanent cover over around the trees. That'll go in to wrap everything up, and I think it's at that time they're planning on doing the treatment.
You know, I said two, but I'd have dropped my memory bank. I can't remember what the other one was. Gordy. All right, I'll remember it next time.
I'll
Sorry
be
about
around.
that. Huh?
I'll be around.
It's not, I don't know if it was yours or not, but yeah, we just want to check them because everybody here knows we catch a lot of flack over here in palm trees if they don't hold up, and they need to be looked at. But okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll think of it as soon as I hit the gas. Rob's ready to roll. Meeting adjourned.